On September 6, 2000, O.J. Simpson's attempt to legally prevent the completion of this motion picture was denied by the Los Angeles County Superior Court.
Unidentified parent unit, TA on Wilshire Boulevard. Please ID yourself. Oh, we copy, thanks. To Lincoln 17, Roger, unit 7, come back. To Lincoln 12, to the white pickup, last name, garbage, partial life, Fort Edward, Boyd, Edward. Julie, 59, go ahead. Adam 15, DB investigation 875 South Bundy.
8 Adam 15, 10-4, proceeding westbound on Sunset from San Vicente to located.
115, station 11.
Stop! There's a dead woman there! At the house, right over there! Over there! She's all blood down. All down. The dog made us.
Risky, 8 out of 15. Got a double homicide. Notified detectives. Need backup to seal off the area.
"35-year-old Nicole Simpson's body was found shortly after midnight at the entrance to her Brentwood condominium. Next to her was the body of her companion, 25-year-old Ronald Goldman. A coroner's office spokesman says both bodies suffered sharp force injuries. Inside the condo were O.J. and Nicole Simpson's 2 children, a 5-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl. Simpson was taken in for questioning about noon today at his home, saying he knew nothing. She was a model. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, rushing his way to a superstar pro football career, which then led to commercials, movies, and commentating. O.J. is now grieving the loss of his ex-wife. At the same time, he's trying to defend himself from the growing inferences he may be the suspect.
Hello? Sorry, I can't hear. Yeah, this is Robert Shapiro. Yeah, who? I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Who? Roger King? You're willing to pay for O.J.'s defense?
It's time to do your thing! Pick up your napkins!
If O.J. agrees, I'll represent him. No, I'm sorry, Mr. King. I need to hear it from him. Thank you.
Well, we can forget Europe. Looks like we have the Simpson case.
O.J. Simpson, a mourner at his ex-wife's funeral, is fast becoming a suspect. Police sources telling us they're almost ready to file formal charges. Meanwhile, word is that the celebrity defendant may hire colorful celebrity attorney Robert Shapiro.
Is KCBS LA. Trisha
Paula,
Toyota.
I'll need numbers for Alan Dershowitz, Boston, Jerry Ullman, Santa Clara Law School, and F. Lee Bailey. Probably on his boat now.
Mr. Shapiro's residence.
And being very careful about drawing any
Mr. Shapiro's not available right now.
3.5 hours later, he emerged from police headquarters.
Get Bill Pavlik, Glendale, and the polygraph guy we used last year. What was his name?
Mr. Shapiro's residence.
25-year-old Nicole Brown Simpson and 25-year-old Ronald Goldman. The two were both found yesterday outside
OJ?
the condominium.
Pleasure to hear from you.
Police sources say that O.J. Simpson is under suspicion because a bloody glove was found at the crime scene and there was blood inside his Chicago hotel room. These sources say they expect to arrest Simpson as soon as DNA tests are concluded.
O.J. Simpson has disappeared. The district attorney today has charged O.J. Simpson formally with 2 counts of premeditated murder.
O.J. Simpson, they went to get him, and it turned out he was gone.
That's Bob Turrup in Chapter 2. Bob, you believe that to be
Zoom in. O.J. Simpson is believed to be in the white Bronco that you see in the center of your picture. Yeah, it looks like
we're going to do
this. Looks like 9 Orange County Sheriff's deputies.
Got a reason for running for something.
We're going to do that. Just throw the gun.
I hope he did, and I hope he goes to prison.
What is wrong with you, woman? That's a black man there.
Oh, please, I ain't no black man. He lives among whites, he works among whites, he marries whites, he screws whites, he joins white clubs and builds white businesses. Come on, he's straight up Oreo through and through.
Believe me, Sean, now that he's in their justice system, he's as black as tar. Right now, he's just another nigger.
Oh, he ain't no nigga, please.
You better get on board, girl. You don't have any idea how serious this is going to be.
Oh, maybe he can get some of his white friends to help defend him now.
Well, there's Johnny. Let's ask him.
How's the Blake case?
Good morning, Mr. Cochran.
Sad day for all of us.
We can see 2 veteran robbery homicide division detectives talking to Simpson. No idea what
Hi, Carl.
They'll be going through the booking process.
Can I see you for a minute?
Sure.
We perhaps may have believed the sincerity of O.J. Simpson's willingness to come forward.
Be back in a minute. Johnny, now you know this should be our case.
Carl, you know, we may be well out of it. O.J.'s blood was found there at the crime scene. It also looks like he carried some of that blood back to his house. Then there's the bloody glove found on his Rockingham grounds that matched another glove found near the bodies. This news is heavy.
Now let's switch to D.A. Gil Garcetti on the Simpson case.
It's not going to shock me if we see O.J. Simpson somewhere down the road say, okay, I did do it, but I'm not responsible. We have a man fleeing in his white Bronco. Everyone saw it. That fact alone establishes guilt in our minds.
To comment on a case at this stage violates the rights of a defendant. This premature talk by District Attorney Garcetti is unconscionable.
I have Mr. Simpson on the phone.
I have no pillars on my cot. I
Morning,
watched
OJ.
TV through the food delivery slot. I pulled the phone through the slot. The toilet has no seat. Otherwise, things are fine. You better.
Okay, OJ, listen to me, please. Do not talk to anyone about the case. You're being monitored 24 hours a day, including phone calls. Everything you say is being recorded. An inmate will snitch on you just to get a pillow.
I'm not talking to anybody.
Okay, good.
How are Justin and Sydney?
The kids, they're fine. They're with Nicole's parents as you wanted.
They think I'm doing police work, helping to find their mother's killer. Could I meet everybody, please, so I can say thank you?
Sure. As I promised you, I went after the 3 greatest lawyers I know. Lee Bailey for strategy, Jerry Ullman for California procedure, and Alan Dershowitz for constitutional law. Now, Lee Bailey isn't in the room with us here quite yet, but we do have Alan on the speakerphone from Boston.
The great Alan Dershowitz?
Happy to be on the team, O.J.
O.J., this is Jerry Ullman. I was co-counsel with Bob Shapiro on the Brando case.
Good to hear your voice, Mr. Ullman.
Okay, O.J., we also have with us here in the room Bill Pavlik. He used to be a detective with the Los Angeles Police Department, so he's going to function as our lead investigator.
Hey, O.J.,
You won't remember, but I was part of your security detail when you carried the torch in the '84 Olympics.
Sure, I remember, Bill.
Look, OJ, don't let the time in jail go to waste. Read everything, feel free to ask us questions, and don't take anything we have to say for granted. If you don't get to know this case inside out, don't expect your lawyers to know it. And don't be intimidated by all the DA's announcements. This is what they always do. They make it seem like they have a mountain of incontrovertible evidence.
Mr. Simpson. Dr. Henry Lee speaking. Forensic scientist. Am already studied early police evidence. Many questions. Appears to be many interesting avenues to explore.
Yes, Dr. Lee. I hope you find pay dirt at the end of the road. And where's my friend, Bob Kardashian?
I'm here, Juice. I'm right here.
Bobby, I'll be calling you tonight. Gentlemen, if for some reason I'm not reachable, I say now to everybody, Bob Kardashian is my best friend. I've known him for half my life. He's an attorney and he speaks for me. I want all you guys to know I am innocent. I didn't kill Nicole. No way.
We hear you, OJ, and I promise you that the only defense that we plan to raise is that you are totally innocent. But get ready. Garcetti has just assigned the case to Marcia Clark. She's the lead prosecutor. She specializes in battered wives cases. She just convicted a stalker. I think they're trying to tell us that they think the killer...
I've never battered my wife.
We know, Juice. We know.
Look, what I'm trying to say is that by assigning her, and she just got death sentences against 2 black defendants, by assigning her, they're trying to tell us that they consider you to be a violent criminal.
Death sentence? What the hell is that?
Look, OJ, the strategy is simple. We're going to try to move very quickly here. We're going to press for a speedy trial. The law says we're entitled to one within 6 months. Believe me, the DA's office will not be able to keep up with us.
Why, Bob? What if we're not ready?
Oh, they'll be far less ready. With all the evidence there is to test, with all the witnesses that they have to interview, they will not be able to put together a forceful, coherent strategy in a hurry, whereas we will. We have the legal talent, we have the investigating talent, we have the forensic talent. We will know exactly how to exploit their mistakes. And they will make some. Believe me, because they're hostile, they're going to be over-eager, they're going to be careless.
I didn't batter my wife.
The 911 calls Nicole Simpson made when an outraged O.J. Simpson was knocking down her back door.
Well, my ex-husband or my husband just broke into my house, and he's ranting and raving. Now he's just walked out in the front yard. Has he been drinking or anything?
Bobby, come here and take a look at this.
Minutes passed, then a second, more desperate call.
911 emergency. Can you get someone over here now to 325 Gretna Green? He's back. Please.
Well, okay, what does he look like?
He's O.J. Simpson.
Wait a minute, what kind of car is he in?
He's in a white Bronco, but first of all, he broke the back door down to get in.
Okay, wait a minute, what's your name?
Nicole Simpson. You're going to hear him in a minute. He's about to get in again.
Okay, just stay on the line.
I don't want to stay on the line. He's going to beat the out.
Wait a minute, just stay on the line.
This 911 stuff. That's not what really happened, Bobby. They covered me with filth.
I know. It's so unfair.
People may have seen me as fun-loving, but underneath I had plans. I studied diction. Bobby, I studied the good manners of life. You know that.
I certainly do.
I watched Ronald Reagan, and if that man made a good president, why, the job is open to many more people than you might think. I tell you, I could have been many things.
Who knows?
I do.
All I can say is every potential juror in Southern California has now heard what might become trial evidence. This can be seen as jeopardizing O.J.'s right to a fair trial.
And now to historian Richard Brown.
When you have an American hero who is so respected and so revered, when he falls, it is more than a fall. It is, for many people, literally an emotional catastrophe.
O.J. Simpson's request for a private wing of the jail to avoid eavesdropping granted, and a judge also orders him a special orthopedic pillow.
Meanwhile, a 15-inch stiletto knife has become the focus of Simpson's preliminary hearing. A witness testified he sold the defendant the knife 6 weeks before the murders. Police are still...
Bob? Got a minute?
Yeah, what's up?
I've been tracking this cop who climbed the wall at Rockingham.
What, found the bloody glove at O.J.'s house?
Yeah. Mark Furman's the name. Detective Mark Furman. We found some dirt on him.
Good.
He's a big hero, this Furman, but Furman isn't in any of the police reports they sent us. So I used my LAPD sources to get his dossier. Real stuff in here. In 1981, Furman was given a temporary medical leave from the police force. It seems he was getting too angry at black gang members. My source also tells me that in '88 he shot a perp, then supposedly stood over the guy and said, "Are you still alive, nigger?" Bob, the single most damaging piece of evidence against O.J. Simpson was found by this cop, Mark Furman.
You sure?
They omitted Furman's name from every report they sent us? Yeah, I'm sure.
Have a seat, Bill. I'll be right with you. Sarah, that New Yorker reporter who called me, do we still have his number?
Are you thinking of joining the Simpson team? We've heard that's possible.
Strictly a rumor. I consider OJ a friend, and it's very difficult to defend someone you're close to.
You're not saying that because of any doubts you might have about...
Oh, no. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind OJ is innocent.
You still saying there's doubt in your mind?
I know, I don't know what to think.
O.J. Simpson, the athlete, always understood the playing field on the grid.
Do you have any idea how much pain OJ must be in right now?
Maybe I'm beginning to feel sorry for him.
Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
All right, it's getting to me.
So much media attention had been paid to the horror and the other victim. And they felt bad that Ron's story hadn't been told.
Bobby, how am I going to pay for my defense? You know my assets are all tied up.
OJ, I've explained this to all of your rich friends. They promise and they promise, but not one of them has written a check.
What about the Kang brothers?
Well, they wanted exclusive interviews for their shows. Inside Edition, American Journal. But they attached so many strings, Shapiro walked away from the deal.
Wait a minute. It was my money he was walking away from.
OJ, I had to agree with them. The media would have killed you for keeping them out.
What's the media doing now? Killing me. Okay, I seen it coming. I have to mortgage my house. You know, I've been thinking about Shapiro, Bobby. I know he's a terrific lawyer, but I still do worry. He's never tried a death penalty case.
That's true. It's also true that his strength is in copping pleas and making deals. You haven't discussed making a deal with him, have you?
No way. Does Bob think I'm guilty?
The blood evidence troubles him.
Does he believe completely in my innocence? Completely, or does he not?
I'm not sure. All I know is that you need somebody who knows how to take this case to court. Maybe somebody black.
Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran, is that what you're thinking?
Well, he is the best black lawyer in town. I hear that everywhere.
Could you talk to Johnny?
No, OJ. That's a call you have to make.
Bob, OJ called me 6 times yesterday asking to meet with me. I didn't feel I could until I talked with you.
Great. Johnny, I think that's terrific. You would be a terrific asset, but this is a team effort. A couple of people I gotta speak to first. Also, I have to warn you, OJ's money is limited.
Well, I can live with that. Yeah, OJ, I met with Bob Shapiro, and I do know what you're saying. Yes, much of the public is not too well disposed towards you, but we can certainly change that.
Hey, Sean. What are you doing?
Come here. OJ's on the phone.
Who? What are you talking about?
Shh. Listen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bye-bye. Della, I want to speak to Michael Jackson and then Joe Cosby.
I have Mr. Jackson on line 3 for you.
Yeah, hello, Michael. OJ needs a proper defense, but I assure you, you'll always come first.
He's gonna.
Hey.
Yes, I'll tell him. Bye-bye.
Yes. I told Johnny this should be our case. It's so great for the firm. I mean,
I'm going to see OJ. He wants me to handle his case.
Really?
How about that 911?
How is OJ? What did he say? How does he look? Had all of them to see him?
I can't recall a more impressive first encounter. After spending 3 hours with the man, I can vouchsafe
that there's no way O.J. Simpson committed those murders, and I say that as a man who has looked into the eyes of 100 killers over the years.
Confirmation this afternoon that F. Lee Bailey is joining the Simpson defense team. Bailey, a veteran of 29 murder cases, including Sam Shepard and the Boston Strangler.
Mr. Bailey, how do you know that?
Every murder defendant will tell you that he's innocent. The trick for his lawyer is to figure out if he's lying. O.J. was not lying.
You're speaking out of your extensive experience. You're absolutely certain?
Well, I tell you, if O.J. was not telling the truth, I was watching Laurence Olivier give the best performance of his life. Absolutely.
Mrs. Shapiro, how are you? Mr. Shapiro, nice to see you. This way, please. Oh, may I congratulate you on your appearance on the Today Show?
Thank you, James.
Mr. Shapiro will be on Connie Chung or Barbara Walters.
Oh, only the best. Mr. Shapiro, are you expecting anybody?
Yes, F. Lee Bailey will be joining us.
I will look for him. Okay. Mr. Shapiro, Roger Moore is here, and he would like you to stop by his table.
Well, we can always use the help of James Bond. You didn't? Nothing. Glad you could make it. I want to thank you for telling the media that O.J. is innocent.
Good evening.
And to you, Bob, for putting together such a terrific dream team.
Speaking of which, Bob, where's the newest member of your dream team? I don't see Mr. Cochran.
He's doing a Shapiro. He's probably in front of some TV camera somewhere right now.
Dershowitz telling me you're getting in Scheck from New York.
Scheck? Who's Scheck?
Barry Scheck. He's the best DNA lawyer in the country. I hate talking shop at dinner, don't you?
Well, I suggest we raise our glasses.
Cheers. Mr. Cochran? Mr. Cochran, I'm Sarah Kaplan, and I hope I haven't kept you waiting. No trouble finding the place?
No problem.
I'm sorry, but Mr. Shapiro's meeting with Mr. Simpson now. Why don't you step into the conference room? He did leave some discovery materials for you.
Well, Bob Shapiro just sent us his first message. We should leave.
You went to see the client, Carl. Be cool. Give it time.
White people believe that O.J. is guilty, and they've been believing it from day one. Whereas black people is just the opposite. We've been believing he's been innocent and framed since day one.
Okay, how many people here think that O.J. is guilty? Raise your hand. Well, out there, lots of people do. So I suggest that we can most profitably spend our time here together discussing how we think the prosecution's going to shape its case. And Alan, any thoughts?
Yes, let's not forget that Gil Garcetti is running for re-election, and female voters will reward him if he makes this an abuse case. So Marcia Clark is going to build our client's profile as a batterer.
Well, that is true. You know, whenever I visit O.J., I hear clear my name. He seems more concerned about damage to his public image than a possible death penalty. But I don't agree in full that should be our main point. I mean, how do we ignore the blood evidence?
Once Garcetti released the 911 tapes, he succeeded in convincing the public that O.J. is a wife beater. That's O.J.'s image now, and that can convict him even more than the blood evidence. The press, the media, the TV has turned our hero into a batterer, into a bully. The public no longer wishes our client to be innocent, and the jury pool comes from that public. I would say our first objective is to separate the concept of murder from domestic violence.
Okay, how do you suppose we go about it?
We start with the statistics, and they support us. 4 million women are beaten up in the U.S. every year, but fewer than 2,000 of those women are murdered. That's only 1 in 2,000. So spousal abuse is not a predictor of murder. Barry Scheck, I see you do not agree with me.
Alan, with all due respect, when a battered woman is killed, it turns out that 50% of the time, it was a batterer who did the killing. Spousal abuse may not be a reliable predictor for murder, but I promise you, a clever prosecutor can make it seem like it is.
May a girl speak her mind before this distinguished company?
Please.
Thank you. As a woman, I take battering very seriously. And I've talked at length with O.J. He doesn't talk like a man with a motive. At the time that Nicole was killed, he was in love with Paula Barbieri.
Okay, Sean, your premise is well taken.
Thank you.
No, really, if you and Alan are correct in your assumptions, then we certainly have to create sympathy for O.J. I'll agree that far. Alan, I think that should be our first objective, creating sympathy for O.J. You know, I know a lot of people here in the TV industry. I can talk to them, maybe get them to put on reruns of movies that show, you know, people being framed by the police. 12 Angry Men. It's about this poor Puerto Rican kid who's almost railroaded for murder, but a jury saves him.
I would agree that media can be crucial to this case, and their presence doesn't have to be all bad. Here, for example, this article in The New Yorker, which calls Mark Furman a racist cop, has made it just about impossible now for Furman to take the witness stand for the prosecution. This is a very useful article for us.
No, I disagree. I would ignore the New Yorker if I were you. Prosecution is going to put Furman on the stand. I would even start with Furman. First things first, get the bloody glove right in the jury's mind. They react profoundly to blood.
Marcia Clark is too smart, Lee. Come on. She's too smart to use Furman when he's that kind of explosive racist baggage.
I continue to disagree, so let me stake my claim right now. I want to be the one who takes him on. Nobody understands cops like I do. There's just about nothing they won't do to put people away. In addition, Furman was a Marine. So was I. Takes one to know one. Marine to Marine. I could look him straight in the eye.
Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Simpson on the line.
Okay, we're rolling, O.J.
Sorry I'm late, guys. They finally brought me the phone.
It's okay. O.J., we're ready now to discuss the blood evidence, and we have to talk about it because at the end of the day, that's where we're all going to be.
O.J., Barry Scheck. For now, as you know, I'm only here as a DNA consultant. But I will say, after listening to everyone, and from what I've learned of these preliminary tests, we are facing some serious problems. These preliminary tests show that your blood is present at the crime scene at Bundy and also at your home on Rockingham. Now, that can be argued against. These preliminary tests are not conclusive, they're too rudimentary. But if the vastly more conclusive DNA test also puts you at the crime scene, then DNA becomes a powerful tool for the prosecution.
Mr. Scheck, I didn't do it. I just didn't do it.
O.J., F. Lee here. I worry a hell of a lot less about DNA than our new friend Barry Scheck. A conviction will not be found in DNA. That's voodoo dots.
Couldn't agree more. Nobody understands this DNA stuff. And to be quite honest, nobody cares. Look, if we don't understand it, how's a downtown jury going to understand it?
Yeah, well...
And gentlemen, I just might have a little experience in what a downtown jury is likely to believe.
Well, I recommend we apply our energies to portraying O.J. as a caring father. We have to keep asking, could this man have brutally murdered the mother of his children while his little girl, have you got the photo there? While his little girl lay sleeping in an upstairs bedroom only a few hours after this photo of her was taken at a dance recital?
The answer is never.
I detect anti-scientific attitude here. Test it properly, trust DNA. Without reservation.
O.J., Dr. Lee makes a very good point. Never underestimate the power of DNA evidence. I assure you, gentlemen, prosecutors make it easy to follow, and juries can't understand it.
Well, I don't understand. How about that? How do people arrive at million and billion to one probabilities? Get it straight, guys, please. I can't explain these things, this DNA stuff, but I didn't do it. I just want you guys to clear my name. I want to be home by Halloween. I want to go trick-or-treating with my kids.
Okay, we heard you, O.J. We have to get to work now.
Barry, you work
Johnny, we're going to have to make some kind of decision about these upcoming TV appearances. Connie Chung is interested in doing something with us.
Oh, good. I know Connie Chung rather well. I can call it home.
No need for that. I had dinner with her last night.
Wait, Bob. I had drinks with Connie after you had dinner with Connie.
Yes, Johnny,
Wait a minute,
but
you
I
gotta
had
do a Johnny
dessert
voice.
with her. I had dessert with her right after you had the drink.
Oh, is that right? But wait a minute. Wait, Bob, I can call Connie because I have her cell phone number.
Oh, but that's her public cell phone number. I have her private cell phone number.
Okay. Don't leave me in suspense. Tell me what happened when you went to see him in jail.
He did not convince me that he's innocent.
Why not?
Well, because he kept saying stuff like, why did Nicole lead such a terrible life? All that drug taking. I had no motive to kill her. I had all the women that I wanted. I don't care that she left. There were plenty of women to take her place. There's always been plenty of women. I don't care that she left. I have no more big feelings for her. Now, Sean, if he had no feelings for her, why can't he stop talking about her?
All I'm hearing from you is a feminist in you talking.
I am a feminist, Sean. I thought you were, too.
Yeah, I am a feminist, Gail. I'm just not an unforgiving one. Compassionate. I mean, I've seen the man. He's in a lot of pain. I just feel really sorry for him that he can't go home and hug his kids.
He is in denial about how he really treated Nicole, and he's obsessed with a woman that kept leaving him. Sean, that gives him a motive.
I want to testify. I've been saying this for weeks. Why don't you try asking me a few questions right now? Come
OJ,
on.
it's almost never a good idea for a defendant to take the stand.
Bob, I have a life to live after this. The only way I can live it is to tell everybody what happened.
All right, OJ, ready?
Ask away.
Have you ever hit your wife?
What?
And you punched her out, didn't you?
What?
And you kicked her, did you not? You punched her and you kicked her until she bled.
Jesus, Bob, what the hell is this?
This is just a little taste of what Marsha Clark is going to do to you on the stand.
I concede if he testified today, he'd be a disaster. Yet, if we start prepping him now, he can be ready.
What's your basis for believing that?
Bob, O.J. was a great running back, but he wasn't born knowing how to make those moves on the field. He learned them. He can learn this too. In the end, if he insists on testifying, it's our job to support him.
Two days after the killings, I had O.J. take a lie detector exam. He gave a wrong answer to just about every question.
I don't believe it.
He scored minus 22. That's as bad as you can get. That's why I don't want him to testify.
Minus 22.
Minus 22.
Today, the first legal skirmish in the Simpson case, a crucial pretrial hearing at the criminal courts building, pitting prosecutors Marsha Clark and Bill Hodgman against the so-called Dream Team. The fight involves the sharing of blood samples. The defense is worried prosecution DNA tests will consume most of this vital evidence. Here we see Dream Team members F. Lee Bailey and East Coast-based DNA expert Barry Scheck. And from a camera mounted on the wall, we see for the first time the courtroom that is ground zero for this high legal drama.
All rise. Department 103 is now in session.
Morning.
Morning, Your Honor. For Clark to win, she had to tell us who found every single piece of blood evidence. Who touched it, who tested it, how they tested it, and what they tested it for. Now, we won't get the samples, but this has given us a complete catalog of their procedures. There's a lot we can do with that.
Hope all this is worth it, Barry.
The nurse drew 8 milliliters of O.J.'s blood for reference. After the prosecution test, by recorded measure, there should have been 4.5 milliliters of blood still remaining in the vial. But 2 milliliters of blood are missing. Why? Where? How were they used by the prosecution?
I realize that this demonstrates, at the very least, monumental carelessness on the part of the prosecution. But how does it help us? I mean, when I present this evidence, what do I say to a jury that will lead them to acquit?
2 milliliters of blood is enough to contaminate every last one of the original swatches.
Are you saying that some zealous lab technician spiked the evidence with O.J.'s reference blood he voluntarily gave the police?
I can't say that. But there is a pattern here. Again and again, it's impossible to match a specific test with a specific blood stain. Some swatches were gathered in the morning and left in an unrefrigerated truck for all of a hot June day. Exposed blood to heat like that, it degrades. It's useless for DNA testing. If you don't trust how the evidence was collected, and in this case, it's impossible to trust it, don't trust what it says. You can say that to the jury.
Juries don't give a damn about some cop leaving his stuff in an overheated truck. Error is good, but malice is better. Was there any hanky-panky at the crime scene or in the lab?
Listen, I saw O.J.'s socks in the police lab just days after the murder. I looked very closely at them. I'm no expert, but there were experts there, and none of us saw any blood on the socks. Someone poured blood on those socks. I think that's where the missing blood went.
May I? Here I can contribute one piece. Many blood drops on murder scene at Bundy come from blood. From falling down straight. Murder would be moving, not standing in fixed position. Blood should be spattered. Let me demonstrate the difference between blood drops from standing still position and blood drop from moving position. Here is the blood drop from standing still. As you can see, now blood drop from moving position. See the difference? One has a running mark, one from still position. See the difference?
Mr. Shapiro, I know you only wanted me to put Mr. Simpson through, but Ed Blake is calling from the lab.
Oh, that's okay. Put him through.
Ed Blake?
He's the expert that we hired to monitor the prosecution's DNA lab
Ed?
results.
Ed, you there?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Bob Shapiro. We're all here. We're listening.
There's bad news and good news. If you don't mind, I'll begin with the bad. The preliminary DNA tests show there's blood on the Broncos console. It's O.J.'s blood, it's Nicole's blood, and it's Ron Golden's blood.
That's certain?
Certain.
Have you told O.J.?
I called him first. He asked me to tell him everything first.
I don't trust these tests.
I do. This lab is run by the California Department of Justice.
Ed, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Please, don't go away.
Mr. Shapiro, it's Mr. Simpson.
Hey guys, I know you're getting these results. I know it looks bad. I can't explain these things, this DNA stuff, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Of course not, OJ. Now, you just let us worry about the DNA. You hang in there, brother. Hang in. We're all here for you.
I didn't do this thing. I just didn't.
Okay, O.J., we'll talk to you later.
Ed,
I'm here.
what was the good news?
One of the detectives at the crime scene, Philip Van Adder, took the test tube that contained O.J.'s reference blood, and Lieutenant Van Adder carried this test tube in his pocket from police headquarters to Rockingham.
What does that mean?
It means that the opportunity was there to contaminate blood evidence, or create blood
And blood evidence is the whole case.
Exactly right.
Can we in fact show that they contaminated evidence, or better still, created it?
Of course you can. Look at how many things are wrong already. You've got missing blood, unrefrigerated samples, blood drops at the murder scene, and Van Adder.
One of the papers around an original blood swatch showed a wet transfer. The paper had 4 imprints from the Gore swatches.
Yeah, I don't see the relevance.
One technician testified at the Griffin hearing that the swatches were dried overnight before they were placed in the paper. Dried swatches don't leave imprints on the paper. If, however, you add new blood, or for our purposes, some of Mr. Dershowitz's coffee, and then place the paper around that, well,
Leave room for accident. A window is open, swatch don't dry right. Many places in the laboratory to make mistake. Same with records and missing blood. No bad intent.
But bad intent is possible.
Sure, all is possible. But I deal with only scientific fact. What I learn, I tell, straight like an arrow. It's not my job to support claim of innocence.
No, Dr. Lee, that's our job.
That's why Barry's here. He may be too New York, too Jewish.
No.
Some of the gentlemen at this table. But if there's a way out of this thing through the blood, he's gonna find it.
Figured it out.
Figured what out?
Bear with me. This may sound a little extreme, but believe it or not, it is workable. I can get O.J. a plea with this story.
He doesn't want a plea.
You think the cops faked all the blood evidence? If O.J. pleads to voluntary manslaughter, I can get him 5 to 12.
Not on your life.
Stunning new revelations on potential DNA evidence against O.J. Simpson. Tracy Savage has our exclusive report.
Sources tell me that the latest DNA testing reveals that the blood found on the sock left by O.J. in his bedroom is a match with Nicole Brown Simpson's blood. In Los Angeles, I'm Tracy Savage, KNBC News.
Now, what we are asking, Your Honor, is that you formally punish the police and prosecution for leaking the DNA results to the media before discovery. This is an outrage. I've never...
Your Honor, we haven't even sent that sock to the lab yet. No tests have been done.
Miss Clark, are you stating that the Tracy Savage report is untrue? All right, I'll announce that in open court. But from now on, all test results will be submitted to this court first under seal.
Your Honor, if the Savage report is untrue, what does this leak imply? The police lab inventory says no blood was found on the sock. Suddenly, KNBC is telling the whole world blood was found on the sock, and the blood belongs to Nicole Brown Simpson. Who benefits from this false leak?
Are you asking for an official inquiry?
Well, that is certainly something we would like to consider, Your Honor.
I'll take it under advisement.
An official inquiry won't work. Ito's an ex-DA. His wife's the highest-ranking woman officer at the LAPD. Ito will protect the police.
Well, we're ahead in any case. We ought to send some champagne to Tracy Savage.
Yeah, you could say it. She had it all. A big house, servants, jewelry, travel whenever she felt like it, and all on a black man's money.
Do you resent O.J. for living such an upscale lifestyle?
No, he left us long ago. It was her doing. Maybe she had a lot of things that we should have been entitled to have.
She just knew how to shake her booty.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All we have to do is see 12 middle-aged African-American women.
Well, if you can't find 12, take a few young black men. Nearly half of them said they'd been treated unfairly by a white LA cop.
Amen.
Look at the results of our survey. African Americans don't trust the police. And a case based on police incompetence or corruption would work very well with them.
So the black men hate Furman and the black women hate Nicole. Some of them came close to suggesting she got what she deserved.
So the battering won't even matter to a juror like this.
Or Marcia Clark. She's resting her whole case on this.
Oh, I wouldn't be in such a rush to pity her. She's got her jury consultants, too, and they'll be giving her the same information that Joellen is giving us. Clark will know what kind of jury we want, and she will do everything she can to stop us from getting it.
We look to find a jury of one's peers. It rarely actually becomes one's peers. It becomes a random
I saw him a day
process.
ago.
I think what bothers O.J. most is how few of the people who he worked with or played with have actually bothered to call or write him. It's like he's got the plague.
Well, let me see. He's a black defendant accused of killing not one, but 2 white people. I say he does have the plague.
Well, forgive me if I retire, gentlemen, but let me tell you, a prosecutor who doesn't believe he's absolutely virtuous is as rare as a nun in a whorehouse.
Excuse me, Bob. I think you should listen to this.
Well, in theory, it's a bad idea to put your client on the stand. But O.J. is a pretty charismatic client. And with the right jury, they could fall in love with him.
Johnny, excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing what you were saying. Could I ask you, I think it would be helpful when you do TV interviews to stop promising that O.J. will probably take the stand. It sets up an expectation we don't know that we can fulfill.
Okay, your objection is noted.
Also, as long as I have your ear.
Okay, there's an also. Please.
I understand that you sent a letter to Furman's lawyer.
Yeah, he was threatening to sue us over the New Yorker article. I just wanted to put a damper to it.
Don't dampen it. I want him to sue. If he has a financial stake in the outcome of the case, we can exploit that on cross-examination. So, please, in the future, Don't send out any letters without notifying me.
I agree. He's right.
It will be trial by television when O.J. Simpson's murder case begins, as legions of press from around the globe converge on the criminal courts building in downtown Los Angeles. With all the celebrities in court, the real VIPs are 12 ordinary citizens who will decide Simpson's fate.
Where's Johnny Cochran? Simpson going to testify. Can you give us an answer? When's the last time you spoke to Simpson?
Cochran thinks he knows what kind of jury's gonna get him in a court.
No.
He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
No, he can get all the focus groups he wants to. That's not going to make any difference once we get, asking our questions,
You see a lot of defense lawyers on our side of the podium, don't you?
Yes.
If you were sick or injured, would you want to go to the best doctor that you could afford?
Yes.
If you were wrongfully accused of a crime and fighting for your life, would you want to go to the best lawyer you could afford?
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
There's a possibility that those of you who are chosen on this jury will be sequestered. That means you won't be able to go home during the whole trial. Now, please remember, it's not us who put you there. No, we don't want you sequestered. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to bring race into anything. However, if you live in America, it would be foolhardy not to mention that there are times when race plays a role. Now, can you, a diverse group, come together, get along, and go about this task? So the fact that Mr. Simpson, an African American, who was married to a Caucasian woman, will not be held against him. Agreed? Agreed.
I think you would all agree that race is not a reason to convict, nor is race a reason to acquit. The defense is going to argue that dope dealers did it, the mafia did it, 3 white burglars did it. Before it's all over, it'll be space aliens who did it. Your Honor, the prosecution will accept the jury as presently constituted.
Thank you.
6. Wow.
I'm not satisfied.
Johnny, you always said if we got 4, we'd be in great shape.
Your Honor, the defense would ask the court to thank and excuse juror 1187.
Thank you.
This next juror.
Juror 1435.
Well, it's not what I hoped for.
The prosecution would ask that juror 1164 be excused.
Thank you.
There goes one of ours.
Juror 1172.
Got another one back.
The defense will excuse juror 1141.
Thank you.
Damn, Marshal Clark.
The prosecution does not have the legal right to excuse a potential juror on the basis of race.
Well, we've been trying to intimidate them all week with that idea.
Yeah, well, apparently they're not getting the message.
We're going to match them. Challenge for challenge.
Your Honor, we accept the panel as constituted.
Thank you.
We got it. Lucky 7. I think we hit the jackpot.
I'm getting that woman off.
Johnny, we have to accept.
I think so too.
Look, see here.
Let me take care of that right. Your Honor, Juror 1179 has corresponded with us and asked to be excused for hardship. We reluctantly agree. All right. 1179, thanks a lot. We're glad to have you.
Juror 1523.
Compton.
Your Honor, the people accept the jury as presently constituted.
Time to pocket the dice.
Your Honor, we jointly accept the jury.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro.
And you wanted me to stop when we had 6.
Well, now all you have to do is keep them.
All right. The O.J. Simpson jury will be sworn.
I'd like you to meet some friends of mine.
Well, the Brotherhood Crusade has done a phenomenal job. We'd like to thank you for your involvement in the redevelopment project.
This is a great event. You know, I must tell you, I feel very comfortable here. I think African-American women may come to love me as much as they do Johnny.
Oh, I think somebody wants to talk to you.
Excuse me, Mr. Shapiro.
Sorry to interrupt, but my wife would like to meet you.
Of course. Excuse me.
Take care of your business.
I'm astounded.
Yo, he's bugging. He is totally bugging. You know, don't he know that these folks would crack jokes with the devil himself if Johnny brought him up in here?
Oh, no, see, Bob Shapiro's sending yet another message. He's saying, I can relate to a black jury. I still lead the defense team. In contrast, look at the smooth, debonair Johnny Cochran.
Oh, boy, he's got all the women around him as usual. Hi, Johnny.
District Attorney Gil Garcetti has announced that veteran black prosecutor Chris Darden will join the prosecution team. Though Garcetti says he's not pandering to jurors, the majority of whom are black, critics say Darden is there because of his race, period.
Morning. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
He's guilty as hell. I'm gonna kick his ass.
Good morning to you.
What's up with that? Insecurity.
This past Sunday talking about...
Just O.J. is the worst killer I have ever tried. That brother don't really believe it. Sean, go back to the office and file a sealed motion to have him removed from the case.
My pleasure.
We're going to have our hands full.
Obviously, I can't discuss the contents of a sealed motion. But ask yourself, isn't it curious that he shows up now that we've got 8 African Americans on the jury?
Work it. Johnny.
Both sides still bickering about every aspect of the case. Blood evidence, character testimony.
Okay, I want it in writing. And now tell me once again. They're sure it's her blood. No doubt.
Demand to show evidence that O.J. Simpson battered his
Hey, Bobby.
ex-wife.
Thanks for the ride.
Clearly the
My pleasure.
911 tapes, some photos, and even testimony from relatives has been reported.
Bob, you remember the heel imprint they found on the carpet at the Bronco? The heel imprint that matched the one at the murder scene?
What about it?
What about it? They found Nicole Brown's blood in it. Bob, there's one thing to plant a few bloody drops. It's another thing entirely to manufacture a bloody heel print in carpet. Also, another DNA test came in on the glove that Furman found at Simpson's home. And it contains a mixture of Simpson's blood, Nicole's blood, and Ron Goldman's blood. Not good news.
O.J. does not need an attorney who's looking to make a deal.
With all due respect, I don't think you realize that what he needs is an attorney who's able to do just that. 5 to 12 for manslaughter. It's a lot better than life.
And word just coming in now that Judge Ito is refusing to bar late edition Chris Darden from the DA's team.
Okay, OJ, I am not asking you to agree with anything I'm going to say right now, but I need you to listen to me. Please listen to me. We have to talk about alternatives. As your lawyer, I have an obligation
I don't want to hear anything about alternatives.
Please, just hear me out, okay? This paid me a lot of money. Just listen to what I have to say, okay? This is what I think will be Marcia's theory of the case. You were offended when the family refused to let you go out to dinner with them. You decided to punish Nicole by slashing her tires, so you went to her. What? On TV. You went.
OJ, pay no attention to this.
Bobby, please, just hear me out, okay? You went to her home with a knife in a rage. You cut her throat in a rage. It was by accident. No, we can argue this, please. Please. Just then, Goldman comes by. You thought he was her lover, and you killed him in self-defense. We can argue this. He's young. He was strong.
Mr. Shapiro, will you join us in my chambers, please?
Yes, of course, Your Honor. I'll be right there. Thank you.
Barry, we'll get to this involved.
Okay, afterward, in a daze, you got rid of the clothes and the knife. You flew to Chicago. On the next day, when you returned to L.A., and please, Bobby, I think this is Marcia's idea, not mine. You got Kardashian to dispose of the crime scene clothes and the knife.
I am not going to plead guilty to something I didn't do. I don't ever want to hear you talk about this again. Are you crazy?
I don't understand this.
Shapiro has been a friend, an old friend. But I must speak out. OJ's right. This is insanity. He's ready to make you an accessory after the fact.
Well, I'm not an accessory to anything.
Of course not. Bob still wants to run the show. He's not interested in his client. He's interested in himself. OJ.
Shapiro says he's off to the beach in Hawaii during the Christmas holidays.
Sean, Carl, and I are staying here. We have a case to win.
I agree. I even think that you should give opening and closing statements. Let Shapiro take second position. Are you up for it?
I'm for it. This jury can relate to me. Yes, I can win this case. But I still say only OJ can tell Shapiro what he wants and have it stick. Until then, I make no move.
Now look, I think that OJ's Bronco was stolen by Duke killers. I've analyzed all the evidence, and it is possible that they broke into the Bronco, they drive over to Bundy and commit the murders. Then they smeared the victim's blood all around inside of the vehicle, drive the car back to Rockingham, park it, and drop off the glove. What do you think?
Bob, please stop wasting our time with this bull. We have a lot of work to do. And we can't be discussing theories of the murders on an open line to Hawaii.
Really, why not? We always discuss delicate matters on the phone.
Okay, today's December 22nd. Can we reschedule for the 27th? Will you be back from Hawaii by then?
No, I will not, and you know that. Linnell and the kids and I were planning to come back after the first. What's going on, guys? What's the hurry here? Lee's in London on his way to Florida. Barry is taking off from Mexico in a few days. Johnny, weren't you supposed to be going to South Africa?
Well, I've decided to stay here and work with Carl and Sean. We have to move ahead.
Okay, fine. I'll come back earlier.
No, that's okay. You enjoy your trip. Just keep us posted.
What I'll do is I'll prepare an outline of what I think we should accomplish first. I'll fax it to you. And you can reach me at the hotel. I'm registered under the name Tony DeMilo, Suite 3018.
It's okay. You enjoy your trip.
Okay.
Just keep us posted.
Yeah, bye.
OJ, we just got off the phone with Shapiro.
I know. You want me to dump him, but I don't want to lose him. He's a good lawyer, and he knows too much.
OJ, get tough. Give me a reason why you can't move on this.
Shapiro is white. He has large recognition. In this town, I need powerful white representation.
Well, can't you demote him just a little? Will you at least think about that?
I'm on trial for my life. Get it? I got other things to think about. You guys work it out.
Princess Diana here with the two princes, Harry and William.
William, now in the hallowed halls of Manor House at Eton College, where he's the only student with his own private privy. It is unknown if he is privy to news that his mother's
F. Lee Bailey.
father, Prince Charles.
Bob, how are you? You calling from Hawaii?
Merry Christmas, Lee.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Lee, I just reread your facts. Have I got this right? Are you endorsing Cochran for the opening statement?
Well, we have a very near-perfect jury for him, and I watched while you let him select the jury, so I thought it was understood he would play that role.
That is absolute and total bull. You knew nothing of the sort, Lee. I'm the right lawyer to lead it off in the courtroom. You know that.
Yes, all right, well, again, Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Lee.
Look, whether I get paid or not, I'm prepared to stand beside you, Johnny.
Lee, if you can handle it, and you certainly are very confident, you have my blessings. You just have to explain it to OJ. Yeah, we have to make it clear to him how strong a presence you'll be to all those many folks out there who, let us say, are still hostile towards OJ now.
The guy is innocent. My heart goes out to him. I think I can convince a lot of prejudiced people. Once I'm up there with you, helping to argue the case.
I want you there, Lee.
Why did I sign a lease on a condo in L.A. if I didn't expect to be in the courtroom for the duration?
Lee, what are you talking about? There are only 3 seats at the table. Besides, there's no money for you.
No money? At all? Why? You're being paid, Cochran's being paid. Ullman and Scheck are in the pot.
Lee, what are you looking for? I'll buy you out.
I don't think you understand. The client wants me there.
I have no clearance for that whatsoever. Lee, I always viewed you as a volunteer. You knew that. I needed your familiarity with computers and, on occasion, some input into strategy.
What?
I viewed you as a volunteer, as a consultant here. That's all, not as one of the trial lawyers.
Bob, I've hung up on you before. I don't want to have to do it again.
Well, this time you won't have to.
Sayonara, old pal.
In today's New York Daily News, columnist Mike McAlery tees off on Bob Shapiro, former lead counsel in the O.J. Simpson case. Robert Shapiro, writes McAlery, has spent a year making people believe he's a heroic, hard-working lawyer. Unfortunately, he's a typical Hollywood character, only tan deep in makeup and significance. As an entertainment lawyer, Shapiro has amazed members of the defense team with his unfamiliarity with the case. Shapiro could disappear quietly now, but the lawyers working with him are decent men. F. Lee Bailey, for example, has been reluctant to hurt Shapiro. Now that's loyalty at work. Mike Walker, National Enquirer.
Johnny, hold up a second. Lee is doing this. He is orchestrating my removal from the case.
Look, Bob, you better talk to him. It can't go on like this.
Talk to him? Talk to him? He raped me. What if he raped your son? Talk to him? I will not be in the same room with him. Don't bob me, Carl.
They're falling apart, Carl.
I see
white folks.
Bob, are there problems in the defense team? Johnny Cochran replaced you. Bob, are there problems in the defense team? Bob, are there problems in the defense team, Bob?
That's a good idea, OJ.
Mr. Cochran? Mr.
Mr. Shapiro just arrived. He's on his way in.
OJ, hold on.
Okay, let's get this straight. I'm in charge here. I've had a meeting with the client. He wants me to be in control of the case. I will be involved in opening remarks.
Bob, tell the truth. The client said just the opposite. After you left jail, OJ called me very upset. You frightened him by threatening to resign. So he may have given you the wrong idea, but you are not in charge. He just called to confirm that. Go ahead, OJ.
First and foremost, Bob, the plan is that Johnny and Lee Bailey are taking a much more active role. They'll carry the ball in the courtroom. They'll be the running backs. Bob, you're the quarterback. But this won't be a passing game, it's a running game.
OJ, if we have to clarify an issue, who is in charge? Who is the CEO?
We all have a job to do, and we have to work together to do it. We have to all rise to the occasion.
May I say something? I'd like to clarify something.
Please.
I've just learned for the first time what it is to be slandered out of a position one has rightfully earned.
Wait, slander? Slander?
Slandered.
Bob Shapiro, you slandered me and Sean. We were working 16 hours a day, and you told OJ we weren't doing our job.
Yeah, you undermine everything we've done, and you act like we don't do anything. And you're trashing us to the client.
You're right. You're right, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right, Cole. I apologize to you and Sean. Look, this is not a justification, but merely by means of explanation. I think everybody at this table knows what I've tried to do. Last 6 months, I've assembled a team. I brought in the experts. We had the grand jury recused. We found Furman. Lately, I felt out of it. I don't know. Call it paranoia. I felt that you had all turned against me. I don't know why. Before Christmas, when I visited OJ, I did speak somewhat negatively about it was wrong. I'm sorry. I was trying to reestablish a relationship with him. It was wrong. I apologize. I apologize to each and every one of you. However, there is someone that I have considered a friend my entire life who has betrayed me. And I can never forgive him for that.
Oh, Mr. Bailey, there's a call for you. You can take it on that phone.
Yeah?
Lee, it's David Margolick from the New York Times. How are you?
Fine.
Oh, listen, Lee, I hate to ask you about this, but we've heard that Bob Shapiro has kicked you out of his office and he's taking your name off his letterhead. Is it true?
I have no comment on that.
Well, we've also heard that Shapiro has said about you, quote, "We can't have snakes in the bed trying to sleep with us." Any comment about that?
This case isn't about Bob Shapiro. It's about O.J. Simpson.
Bobby, gotta cut this out.
Look, you don't understand. He was godfather to my son. I even defended Bailey when he could have been disbarred for drunken driving.
You have to do it for OJ. After all, you're getting paid by him. He's the client.
He's trying to resurrect his career at my expense.
Bobby, I read the Bible every morning, and I forgave you for almost making me an accessory to a double murder. For the sake of this case, I forgave you. Look, there's Lee. Now you do the same. You get out of this car, you shake his hand, hug him, do something. This is a real moment.
Lee, good morning. Look, Lee, I believe we can and we must work together to help OJ.
war coming up today in the Simpson case. African Americans may be ready to go to war with each other. Our special sources say that there's ugliness between the smooth, suave Johnny Cochran and case crusher Chris Darden.
The reason? We hear that Cochran is prepared to portray police detective Mark Furman as an all-out racist who constantly uses the N-word.
The defense is reasoning that the bloody glove Furman found in O.J.'s garden is doctored evidence, the linchpin of a police conspiracy to nail O.J.
The N-word is a dirty, filthy word. It is not a word I allow people to use in my house, nor does Mr. Cochran. It is so inflammatory that to use it will evoke some type of emotional response from any African American within earshot. It is the dirtiest, filthiest, nastiest word in the English
Negro, please. Does he really feel this way, or is he just trying to win a motion?
The brother, and I use the term loosely, is
It will
lost.
disturb black jurors. It will give them a test. Which side are you on? The white prosecutors and the white policeman, or the black defendant and his very prominent black lawyer? It will blind the jury to the truth. It will impair their ability to see fairly and impartially.
It's a sad day, Chris. Mr. Darden's remarks this morning are perhaps the most incredible I've heard in a court of law in my 32 years of practicing. So I, and African American, want to apologize to African Americans all across this country. It is demeaning to our jurors to say that African Americans who have lived under oppression for more than 200 years in this country cannot work within the mainstream, cannot hear those offensive words. We African Americans live with offensive words, offensive thoughts, offensive actions every day in America, and we still believe in this country. What we are talking about, Your Honor, are filthy, nasty words out of the mouth of Mark Furman. And I am ashamed that Mr. Darden, an African American, would be an apologist for such a man. All across America at this moment, black people are offended, and I say this was uncalled for. We're here on the eve of the trial. We need to start afresh. Rosie?
Shall we bow our heads? Oh, Lord, let us take pride in ourselves. Let us work together as a team and permit no evil spirit to invade our domain. For God is with us. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I'll leave and let you get to the easy work.
God bless, brother.
God bless you. I'll see you.
We're about to provide the jury for the first view of our case. And it's important to understand that what jurors do is listen to testimony and turn it into a story that makes sense to them. So it's critical that in your opening statement, Johnny, everything you say will lead the jurors to accept our story rather than the prosecution's. Start with the timeline. If the jury believes Simpson didn't have the opportunity to commit the crimes, they'll build a story from there. Next, we're talking about something far worse than incompetence. We're saying these cops tampered with the evidence, contaminated the evidence. Before the prosecution sent the evidence to the FBI or the California Department of Justice or Selmark, it first passed through here. The LAPD black hole.
Contaminated, compromised, and there's something even more sinister. Corrupted.
No, I'm sorry. This goes way beyond hardball tactics. The rules of discovery say that we have to show the prosecution our display boards.
Stall them. The boards give away too much of our case. We can't let Clark know there's blood missing from O.J.'s reference sample.
Johnny, I have to deal with these prosecutors every day, not just on this case. Now, we're bending the rules, and I'll catch the hell.
Carl, this is not about you. It's for the client. You'll have to fall on your sword.
Your Honor, the court ordered discovery exchange in August. And today, 8 months later, at the start of the actual trial, the defense finally exposes its display boards. And in addition, lists 34 witnesses we've never heard of.
Mr. Douglas, could you address the discovery issues?
Your Honor, as the court is well aware, we have been working diligently in these matters, but we have not coordinated the defense efforts as well as I would have liked. I tell this court, looking the court straight in the eye with all seriousness, that there has been an oversight. I am embarrassed by it.
This is preposterous.
There has been no malice. It's a mistake. It's a function of there being 22.
And earlier today, Carl Douglas tried to convince the court this was all a mistake.
I acknowledge, Your Honor, that I am wrong. I will fall on my sword.
How will you take the fall, Carl?
Yeah, all for the client.
Mr. Douglas, Mr. Simpson's on the line.
We have been working diligently in these matters, but we have not
Yeah.
coordinated
Carl,
defense efforts.
this is OJ. You know, in the old days when I played ball, I was the guy who taught everybody else on the team how to talk. I taught Marcus Allen. I taught Lynn Swan. So now I want to give you some tips on diction. You got to watch your voice, Carl. You get loud. You get screechy. Your inflection's all wrong. But all the same, buddy, you personally, you something else.
Thanks, I think.
I admit it, Bob. You know how I feel about spousal abuse. And I don't like listening to him talk. He's always saying, clear my name. I change the subject. I tell him, I'm hired to help you on the blood evidence.
Well, who's presenting the DNA evidence?
Welcome to Los Angeles International Airport.
Bailey.
Please do not
He can master 2, maybe 3 levels of complexity. His case requires 10.
Let me ask something. How innocent do you think OJ is?
If the police didn't tamper with the blood, Simpson committed the murders.
Couldn't both possibilities be true?
The DQ alpha and the DISAO genes were among those compared. Now, those genes that were analyzed through APCP are not the same as those analyzed through RSLP. No. More significant. That's it. I know how I'm going to do this now.
Lee, what the hell are you talking about? If I can't understand it, how will the jury?
It is fairly complicated. But pray allow me sufficient time that when I present this as a jury that I may clarify it further.
Lee, Barry Scheck is getting paid for this. Let's let him handle it. Now, don't worry about it. Remember, you still have Furman.
Yes, well, thank you. That's a relief.
Well, we live in California, and we thought that there's people coming from all over the world, it seems. Why don't we come and see what OJ's house looked like?
Your Honor, we would argue that there is absolutely no reason for these jurors to enter either Nicole Brown's condo or Simpson's house. The Bundy condo is empty. The Rockingham mansion is alive and colorful. They'll be awed by Simpson's wealth. Nicole will disappear. She'll become distant and less sympathetic. The comparison is unfair.
The jurors are intelligent people. They can appreciate that these people are dead and the house had to be cleaned out.
Take those flowers and put this out, okay? Right, make sure that you bring it to the other side, all right? Okay.
Right. Flowers in the living room, okay?
Okay, Marta, we need to get rid of all these pictures like this.
Okay.
Just put up the pictures of OJ's black friends and family, okay? Any white people take down, okay? Like this
Okay.
one here.
Yes, I will do this, okay?
This one?
Look, I think OJ also has that poster. I guess it's in storage somewhere.
So in a way, we are telling the truth.
Maybe his sisters.
I know.
Okay, yeah.
This one here.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay.
good.
Damn you, Carl. You know there have never been this many black people on these walls. Never in his life.
Marcia, how dare you think something
I'm
like
going to object to
that?
these photographs. There's no reason for all these fireplaces to be lit. Your Honor, the people would like to be heard.
Let's put it on the record. Janet, just join us here. Mr. Cochran, please join us also.
It is blatant manipulation on their part. There's no evidentiary value to it.
I also have concerns about the photographs.
Your Honor, I was not here on the day after the murders, so I am unable to adequately respond specifically as to where each picture was or even what...
Your Honor, I was here on that day, and I can tell you for a fact that...
Your Honor, Mr. Simpson's housekeeper, Gigi, she could tell you.
She's not a detective, she's a housekeeper.
Under no circumstances will I cancel this walkthrough.
Your Honor?
I will ask that the photo of Mr. Simpson's mother be removed and that the fires be extinguished. Nice try, guys.
Nice try. Unbelievable.
Try?
The motorcade is approaching Brentwood, westbound on the Santa Monica Freeway. There are 14 vehicles in this entourage. O.J. Simpson is in one of the very first vehicles. The jurors, all 12, along with 9 alternates, are in a large Sheriff's Department bus. They are being bussed in. Everyone else is traveling by car or van.
To a bizarre caravan carrying O.J. Simpson and the jury, which is deciding his record is pretty much...
Check out Fufu and jeans.
Ooh, man, look at her in those pants. Ooh, I'd like to get at her.
I mean, she's hot, but she's so stupid.
Man, I don't care how stupid she is. Look how she looks in them jeans. Man. This really worked.
Couldn't have been better.
Oh, the flag should have been there. You forgot to put the flag up. The American flag should have been there.
It's going to affect your case in any way, sir. Mr. Shapiro, you're known for making deals with us. Johnny leading the defense team now. Does O.J. still continue lead attorney on the case? How much is O.J. Shapiro? State person.
After weeks of speculation about whether the prosecution would even call Detective Mark Furman to testify in the O.J. Simpson trial, the DA has decided the controversial cop who found the bloody glove will take the stand today.
Informed sources say that Furman, whom the defense says planted that glove and has a history of racism, spent hours under a mock cross-examination by Marcia Clark and Chris Darden to prepare him.
Lay your briefcases down flat, please. All right. Lay that down flat.
Well, as of last night, this is the word. Darden will do the direct on Furman.
That's awful.
No, if he wants to commit suicide as opposed to have racial pride, then let him.
Carl, he's still young. He's black. And he's going to be black when he leaves here.
I agree with them.
Chris, let these white folks deal with Furman. Don't protect a racist.
I'm a prosecutor. I won't make decisions because of race. You got it.
Miss Clark, who is your next witness?
The prosecution calls Mark Furman.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand and state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Mark Furman, M-A-R-K, F-U-H-R-M-A-N.
Detective Furman, can you tell us how you feel about testifying today?
Nervous? Reluctant?
Can you tell us why?
Since June 13th, it seems that I've seen a lot of the evidence ignored and a lot of personal issues come to the forefront. I think that's too bad.
There you see from earlier today, defense lawyer Robert Shapiro coming into court past the usual phalanx of the press that's outside the criminal courts building here in Los Angeles, and that phalanx has grown even larger over the past day or so. The much-anticipated testimony of Detective Mark Furman expected to resume in a few minutes.
Good morning, Detective Furman.
Good morning, Mr. Bailey.
You are now looking at Kathleen Bell, Detective. Do you have a recollection of meeting her?
I do not.
Or at any time in your life?
I do not.
I'm trying to get the distinction between a lack of recollection, a faded memory, and an absolute certainty that you have never seen this woman until you saw her on television. Which is it?
I do not recognize this woman as anybody I have ever met.
Did you say at any time to any female, including Kathleen Bell, that you would like nothing more than to see all niggers gathered together and killed?
No.
You use the word nigger in describing people?
No, sir.
Have you used that word in the past 10 years?
Not that I recall, no.
You are therefore saying that you have not used the word nigger in the past 10 years, Detective Furman.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So that anyone who comes into this court and quotes you as using that word in dealing with African Americans would be a liar, would they not?
Yes, they would.
All of them.
All of them.
Your Honor, if the defense is seeking to impeach Detective Furman's testimony, are they not obliged to present witnesses?
You know we can't do that till you finish your case.
I agree with both of you. Let's conclude that Detective Furman is subject to recall. Miss Clark, later when the defense presents their impeachment
You're right,
witnesses, Detective Furman will have to take the stand again.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution told us that they expect to finish their case by July. So we need to know precisely where we stand in order to prepare. Dr. Lee.
Yes. A lot of blood everywhere. Should be more in Bronco. One glove dropped. One of the killer's hands bare. But no bloody fingerprints found any place. With murder so ugly and so violent, how come only a few drops of blood on glove? Also gloves from crime scenes, very worn. Simpson's rich man. not in character for rich man to keep one glove.
Well, what about the blood stains on the sock?
When the dress socks were found on O.J.'s bedroom floor, no blood was listed as being on them. So, our argument will be that the socks were not found, but were thrown there by a detective. Then we'll argue that the socks were spiked with blood at the lab. Dr. Lee can comment on that.
Okay, cross-contamination, an inexperienced trainee joined the collecting, Fung touching an evidence envelope with his bare hands, and the mystery spot. Got it?
Got it. We're going to turn every prosecution witness into a witness for the defense. Let the jury hear from their own lips how incompetent they were in the collection of this evidence. Well, Mr. Fung, you did not count the number of swatches you collected for each blood stain, did you?
That's correct.
And you have absolutely no record of how many swatches you put into the plastic bag for any blood stain collected in this case.
The stain is the evidence, not the swatch, so I didn't record the number of swatches.
Here's a photograph of the rear gate at Bundy taken on July 3rd, 21 days after the murders. You see what is marked as a blood drop?
Yes.
That's what you saw on July 3rd?
Yes.
Let's look at the picture of the gate on June 13th, one day after the murders. Where is it, Mr. Fung? Where is the blood drop?
I can't see it in the photograph.
Detectives obviously have their work cut out for them. As you can see, a gruesome crime scene. Now, once again, details of this bloody murder.
Hey, Bob, look at this.
Murder's still sketchy right now.
You just hit a home run.
Detective Van Adder, how many times have you taken blood from headquarters at Parker Center out to a crime scene?
I don't know. I can't recall right now any other times that I've done that.
One last question. Did you walk into any blood evidence while the crime scene at Bundy was still secure?
No, sir.
May we show the video, please? Can you identify the person who appears to be standing on a sheet covered with blood?
Yes, that's myself.
We just have to keep demonstrating that not only is contamination probable, it's overbearingly probable.
Take a look at this. It's the vial used for Simpson's reference blood. A lot of blood on the outside.
Yeah, it's carelessly used.
Yeah, it's one of the goodies we got from the Griffin motion. And the lab notes reveal the order in which Yamauchi handled the Bundy blood swatches.
Okay, yeah, and what?
No way he handles the blood swatches without getting blood on his gloved hands, or maybe even his work table. Look at the results. The first swatch Yamauchi touches has the largest quantity of Simpson's DNA. And the second swatch has the second largest quantity, and the third largest quantity.
Right, it's just like when you step from a mud puddle onto dry ground. It's like every step has a little less mud on it. My God, it's so obvious. Yamauchi contaminated the swatches.
But will he admit he got Simpson's reference blood on his gloves?
Well, the way you're making me think about it right now, I had to remember back to what I did with those gloves. And now I recall I had those gloves in my hand. They had blood on them.
So what you're saying is that you got blood on your gloves when you opened Mr. Simpson's reference tube?
Yeah.
That check is okay. I'm amazed how he's chipping away the prosecution's case. This team of ours is really beginning to cook.
Juice, prepare yourself. The next couple of days, Clark is going to show the jury the crime scene and the autopsy photos.
Oh, Bobby, you have to hide me from the TV cameras when they show those pictures. Because those cameras are going to zoom in on me, and I don't know if I can take it. Nicole is dead, Bobby. She's dead. I still can't believe that. I could have saved her, only I'd been there. Bobby, I hear her in my dreams.
Your Honor, the prosecution will now present some evidence that the jury may find disturbing.
There was not a single person in that courtroom who did not react to those pictures. Those pictures were absolutely horrible to look at.
And how often could we expect Simpson's DNA pattern to show up in the general population?
Only once in every 170 million whites or African Americans.
Isn't it true, Dr. Cotton, that every one of those blood drops collected from the Bundy walkway has the same genetic markers as Mr. Simpson's blood?
Yes.
There's a delay just to advise our viewers you're not missing anything, and we're not talking over anything. There seems to be some delay. But, Kristen, the judge has gone to extraordinary lengths over the last 4 weekends to provide some form of entertainment for these jurors.
Your Honor, the prosecution is using the powers of the Sheriff's Department and the LAPD to investigate our jurors. They're attempting to reshape the jury.
Oh, Johnny, please, what bull.
I'm sorry, but juror 462, Jeanette Harris, lied. In 1988, she obtained a restraining order against her boyfriend, hid that fact on the questionnaire. She has to be dismissed for that reason.
Well, I would remind the court that the alternate jury pool is now down from 12 to 6, and there's a long trial ahead.
Well, nobody can be more concerned about this situation than myself.
The prosecution, they're not necessarily saying anything. Domestic violence isn't an issue. That doesn't mean he's guilty of murder.
Ms. Harris.
Ms. Harris.
Do you think someone who makes racial slurs could plant evidence?
Yes, I do.
The judge has subpoenaed Jeanette Harris to show up in this courthouse.
Your Honor, the jurors are split into black and white groups. They eat and exercise separately. They watch videos in different rooms. There's been shoving. There's been hitting. One day, a Hispanic juror asked to open a window, and she said, "I can't breathe the same air as African Americans." The deputies are prejudiced, too. They give the whites more phone calls, and they let them go shopping more often.
She's telling the truth. We've got ourselves a hung jury.
If you lose any more people, it won't be a hung jury. It'll be a mistrial.
Is there a way we can legally hold back the notes of our experts until the last minute so Clark doesn't know what we're going to present?
I'm telling you guys now, I am not falling on any more swords. I'm just not going to do it. Sorry, you have to get somebody else. I'm not going to take that heat. You're not going to...
We have our experts prepare only one final report and give it to us just before they testify. We then turn it over immediately to the prosecution. And so we comply completely with the letter of the law.
I can hear the howls from the prosecution now.
Ah, that lets us state truthfully that we requested and received only one final report.
The only thing you can do is get O.J. in front of a jury without actually putting him on the stand. Use his family, use his friends, anything that enhances his image. But you cannot let him testify.
If Marcia ends with domestic violence, we may have to put O.J. up there. I mean, after all, he has a future he needs to be concerned about.
Johnny, it opens the door to material we've kept out. Let's agree he's not going to testify.
No, I can't agree. Now, come on. Start preparing him. Give him a real chance. He's an innocent man.
I agree with Lee to this extent. Prepare him, even if we're not going to use him.
Yeah, but just keep in mind, he interacts differently with women than he does with men. He becomes very boastful and very flirtatious.
Right. We need our own Marcia Clark. Smart, tenacious, immune to his charm.
Christina Arguedas. She's one of the best criminal lawyers in the country, and she's tough.
The O.J. Simpson trial, now an unofficial tourist stop. In an unexpected appearance today, the Natalie-dressed Stanford University band pays homage to the occasion.
Glove company executive Richard Rubin to the stand to describe the gloves found at the crime scene as well as at the Simpson home. Once again, much back and forth, but the result, a bored jury.
All right, we'll take our afternoon recess. Ladies and gentlemen, you may retire to the jury room.
we get Reuben back on the stand?
I think I'm going to have to look into it a little deeper.
Let me see your left hand. Just hold it. Spread out. Wait. Please be careful.
Well, let me show you that. Let me show you that. Take a look at it.
You know something? You've got the balls of a stud field mouse. You're not going to have our client try those gloves on, are you? You don't want to know if they fit. Of course, if you lack the balls to find out, we might find out for you.
Please, Your Honor, I would object. The defense is not prepared for such a surprise demonstration by Mr. Darden. And, Your Honor, the gloves on the table are not the gloves in evidence.
All right. You know, Mr. Darden, I think it would be more appropriate for Mr. Simpson to try on the pair found at Bundy and Rockingham.
All right. Gentlemen, we move from the certainty of a hung jury to the possibility of an acquittal.
Amen.
Yep. Whoever doesn't step on his dick is going to win this case.
What a quote. Oh, look at that cute couple.
Who the hell's up next? Oh, yeah, that FBI shoe man. What's his name? Boziak, yeah. Pay attention to my cross. I'm going to step all over at Mr. Boziak with my own high heels. No. I'm asking you to consider whether two career criminals, knowing that shoe prints can be traced, might arrange to arrive at a crime scene wearing the same footwear, model, size.
Of this type?
Yeah.
Bruno Mali, size 12?
Yeah.
Olga soles? As I've stated, in my opinion, no.
Do you mean to tell me that it would be impossible to buy two pair of those shoes in the United States?
You're suggesting that they intentionally did it?
Absolutely.
In my opinion, it wouldn't happen. It's uncanny. I don't believe it happened, and I don't believe it happened intentionally or otherwise.
Well, nonetheless, it's possible. I mean, the shoes could have been purchased individually at different stores in different states.
In my opinion, it's not even possible because it's so ridiculous.
That's
You just have to
It's O.J. He's done the right thing. Bailey's become an embarrassment. O.J. wants his witnesses cut.
Agreed.
Bad news. Take a look at the witness list. Lee is scheduled to do the FBI fiber expert Dietrich later this week. And we don't have time to prepare someone else. And what about Heitstra? He's supposed to do him as well.
Those are the last two witnesses he gets.
No more. Your Honor, for the first time, we are seeing the prosecution display boards of this material. We still have not seen Agent Dietrich's notebook or his report on fibers found at the crime scene in O.J.'s Bronco. This is a deliberate attempt to avoid discovery. And we believe that the court should punish the prosecution by excluding Agent Dietrich's report from testimony.
Ms. Clark, do you have anything further to add?
Your Honor, this is an oversight. If anyone is to be penalized, it should be me personally, not the people. Please. Please, don't penalize the proof of this case.
Make sure the defense gets this report during the break.
Let me get this straight. Only now are we being told that the beige carpet in OJ's car is so rare that maybe only 50 other cars throughout the country have it, and worse, that fibers from that carpet were found on Goldman's body, right?
It's the most damaging evidence against OJ in the entire case. Barry.
I know. Could somebody tell me how to explain it?
Yes, if we can find one car out of those 50 registered in L.A., and if we're lucky enough it's in Brentwood, we're out of here.
I say Ito will rule against the prosecution because the law is clear. If you withhold evidence from the opposing side, that evidence is inadmissible. You can't use it.
And it seems that what's happening is that the prosecution made a mistake, and it's not the first one that they've made in this case, and now they just have to live with it.
Now to a reporter at the Criminal Courts Building.
In a setback for the prosecution today, Judge Ito excluded prosecutors from using the conclusions FBI Special Agent Diedrichs would have drawn from his report. Johnny Cochran, however, played down the ruling.
We just got our case back.
OJ, you have to focus on what this case is all about. Your best friend is reasonable doubt. That is the only message this jury should be hearing. Let's not take any risks.
No, let's take him. I want an acquittal. I'm innocent. I want this jury to see that I am not a betterer. I never stalked my ex-wife. You know, I didn't want to get into certain material, but I see that I have to. Call Keith Zlomsowicz to the stand.
Keith?
Zlomsowicz. He's a man who knows that I'm not violent. Not even under heavy provocation. One night after the divorce, I came walking along to pay a friendly visit to Nicole, and there she was on her living room sofa with this guy, Keith Zlomsowicz. I saw it right through the front window. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was so personal, and I did nothing. I waited until the following day. Then I told her that she had no right to perform an act like that where the kids might wake up and see what was going on. Now, can you call that stalking?
I certainly couldn't, OJ. But it may not be the right kind of thing for the media. Let's try to reconstruct your reputation in other ways.
Put me on the stand, Bobby. Why don't you bring Chris Arguelles down from San Francisco to get me ready? I'll show you how well I can handle these matters.
So, all OJ knows is that you're two female criminal lawyers and you're down here from San Francisco to help him prepare for his appearance on the stand. Now, my feeling is that he's going to handle it.
Oh, please, Miss Chapman, don't tell us. We have a long 4th of July weekend to find out for ourselves.
Yes, I realize that. How is it that Nicole has bruises on her in these photos?
We was just fooling around in the mud, and she fell. She fell down. No big deal.
What does the mud have to do with it?
Oh, well, I thought we was just wrestling around, a little like friendly scuffling, and because of the mud, she slipped, and and that's it. And man, did she carry on over nothing. It was over nothing.
Johnny, I hate to tell you this, but Arguelles is totally devouring him in there. Marcia's gonna kick his ass.
After 5 months, 58 witnesses, and 10 dismissed jurors, O.J. Simpson's prosecutors today completed their part of a trial that has transfixed the nation with its legal theatrics. Johnny Cochran said he planned to call his first witness Monday morning.
Hi, Lee.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Now, I understand Heitster's a risky witness, but he has positives. He cleans and waxes luxury cars for a living. He doesn't dress well. He has typical problems making ends meet. A lot of recognition there for working-class jurors. They'll like him.
Yes, I will. And I prepared him carefully.
Why did the prosecution drop him as a witness?
Because he was walking his dog in the alley across the street from Bundy at 10:40 when he heard voices from Nicole's yard yelling, "Hey, hey, hey." So he confirms our 10:40 timeline.
Well, that's good. And Marsha Clark needs the murders done by 10:15.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's be careful, though. This guy Heitster, he worries me. During prep, he said he saw a white wagon car leave the murder scene. Sometimes he called it Jeep-like. Sometimes he said it was a Chevy Blazer.
Yeah, well, I told Heitster, whatever you say, don't call it a Bronco. I told him repeatedly, don't call it a Bronco.
Good morning, Mr. Heitster.
This is the second time that we've said good morning. Is that correct? We greeted each other when we came in this morning.
We did just before.
Did you tell a policeman that the vehicle looked like a Ford Bronco?
Never.
Did you tell a CBS reporter that the vehicle resembled a Ford Bronco?
Don't recall that.
Do you know Patricia Barrett that works in your veterinarian's office?
Yeah.
Did you tell Patricia that the vehicle looked like a Ford Bronco?
Like a Blazer car. Might have said maybe a Bronco, maybe I don't recall that.
I like your preparation, Bailey.
Let's talk about it tonight at the dinner.
Yeah, I thought so. Hello, how are you? Pretty sure I'd have some shrimp.
Dinner is served.
What do you think I don't know. Boy, I don't know.
I apologize for some of my colleagues running a little late. But we'll manage to get along without them. To the Simpson defense, great work in progress.
Cheers.
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 The $64,000 question today, will O.J. Simpson testify? Only the Dream Team knows at this point.
Without giving away our trial strategy, I can tell you that O.J. definitely wants to take the stand, and we believe he'd make an excellent witness on his own behalf.
Let Marcia think we're going to put O.J. on the stand. Maybe she'll spend weeks preparing for him.
Can I make a suggestion, Johnny? Stay away from the media. You're talking too much. If you save it for your book, you can make $5 million.
Maybe your book can earn $5 million, not mine.
See, this is very good. I'll see you guys inside, okay? I'll get out here. That's right. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you today? We're going to have a good day today.
I want to pick up from something that you said. Do you recall telling me that you heard two voices? The first you thought sounded like that of a young white male?
I object, Your Honor. How could he tell it was a white male?
Counsel overruled. Sit down, Mr. Cochran.
The second voice sounded deeper than the first voice, didn't it?
Yeah, a little deeper. Could hardly hear it. It was just very short.
The second voice sounded like the voice of a black man. Is that correct?
I object, Your Honor. That's a racist statement.
Wait! Let's stop the proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, step into the jury room, please.
Your Honor, you can't tell from someone's voice whether they sounded black. That's a racist statement. And I think that it is totally improper that we have to hear this and endure this today in America.
Identifying a murderer is the issue. If the statement was racist, it was Heitstra's statement. I never said such a thing, but that is what you are suggesting, Cochran. And this has created a lot of problems for me and my family. Statements that you make about me and race, Mr. Cochran.
Wait! I'm going to take a recess right now. I am so mad at both of you guys. I'm about to hold both of you in contempt. Now let's take a 15-minute break and let everyone cool off.
I apologize, Your Honor.
It'll take more than that.
Brother, please,
you don't
talk
know
to me.
better. Close. You should know better.
Look, if you said that to rattle Darden, it was brilliant. But if you said it because you believe it, I disagree.
Well, of course, I said it to rattle him, but I also believe it was racist.
Johnny, let's not forget that there will yet be a life after this trial. Chris Darden is a part of our community. You were the one who told me that, remember?
Well, maybe Mr. Darden has crossed the line.
Well, I guess it's on.
Oh, we still have some time. We don't have to be at the grill till 1 o'clock. Christine and Robin are going to join us.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Hello.
I didn't even recognize him.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shapiro.
Hello.
Bob, I just got a tip. A woman named Laura something is pitching a screenplay around town based on interviews with Mark Furman. I'm told what Furman says is relevant to our case.
You know, Pavlik's information is impeccable. While I was shopping with Linnell, he called. Hello, I'm Mr. Shapiro. This is Mr. Cochran. We have no problem.
My client, Miss Laura McKinney, has only one interest. It's to sell her screenplay. And as you now know, that screenplay is based on her taped interviews with Mark Furman. But my client does not want to make the tapes public, despite the big money offers we have from the tabloids. And my client is not eager to help the defense. She thinks Simpson is guilty.
Well, I'd like the opportunity to convince her he's not.
I'll pass that along to her.
How damaging are these tapes to Detective Furman?
As bad as you can imagine.
Where's your client from?
North Carolina.
If we were to file a motion asking a court down there to require her to provide the tapes, and we won, would she appeal such a court order?
She won't volunteer the tapes, but I would say she wouldn't fight a court order.
I'll see you in North Carolina.
Today, August 7th, a North Carolina court cleared the way for O.J. Simpson's lawyer to put on evidence that Detective Mark Furman may have lied on the witness stand about the use of racial epithets while being cross-examined by F. Lee Bailey.
If you got a problem, call.
The transcripts that McKinney's attorneys provided us can't be used in court, so we'll have to do our own. That in itself could take weeks, but even before that happens, we have to have the tapes audibly enhanced at a professional sound lab. Because I listened to the tapes, and the sound quality of Furman's voice is not good.
Okay, now where do we stand on other matters? Physical evidence first.
All right, are we ready to use Henry Lee?
He's not in town. But more importantly, I want to save him for the end. He'll help us destroy their blood evidence.
No. Mark Furman is going to be our last witness. He used the word nigger at least 30 times, every one of which contradicts his denial that he hadn't used the word in the past 10 years.
Wait. The defense cannot rest on someone's taped voice. And you're assuming Ito will admit all this stuff.
Chet, I'm assuming that we have a problem with Dr. Lee.
Sure we have a problem with him. Lee does not consider himself a member of any team. OJ's guilt or innocence doesn't matter to him. He will testify about facts as he sees them. He won't draw conclusions, but if he's handled right, he'll give us the last vital assault on their blood evidence.
Well, saddle him up and get him out of here.
Dr. Lee, when you came to Los Angeles to examine the socks before they were sent to the FBI, who were you with?
You and Attorney Newfield.
Are you sure? Wasn't it perhaps Mr. Blazer?
Oh, maybe him. You all look alike. I don't know.
When you inspected the paper bindles in which blood swatches are stored, did you notice anything?
4 of 7 swatches have made wet transfer of blood to the paper.
Did you notice anything else?
Wet transfer are not mirror images of swatch originally holding blood.
And what is your opinion about the existence of these transfer stains?
Only opinion I can give under the circumstance. Something's wrong.
Your Honor, may I confer with my colleagues?
Attorney O.J. wants to give you counsel.
O.J. wants him to say something's wrong again and again. He wants you to ask him what's wrong. He wants the jury to hear the details.
That's right.
It's better to end it this way.
It's Friday, and Orenthal wants a big finish.
Just ask him what's wrong.
Dr. Lee, could you please explain what you mean by something's wrong?
What I mean, there are 7 swatches, 4 imprints. 7 dry swatches should leave no imprints. If all 7 are wet, should be 7 imprints. I see only 4. Numbers do not add up.
Call. When the transcripts of Furman's interviews arrive, send a set to Marcia Clark Then have a driver take another set to Jerry Ullman now at his hotel. He's going to argue their admissibility. Lock all other sets in the safe. We can't afford any leaks. Lee.
Yeah, well, thank God we didn't finish with Furman. Now we're on the threshold of an acquittal.
Well, that's what I like to hear.
Carl, did I hear correctly? I'm not to receive a copy? Then why was I sitting here, waiting?
Lee, you heard Johnny. I got my marching orders.
Well, let me tell you, as O.J.'s attorney, I find this not only demeaning, but damn insulting.
O.J. Simpson spoke to police several days earlier. He was vague about the L.A. cut. And at one point he said, quote, "I recall bleeding at my house, and then I went to the Bronco."
I don't believe the jury will
Mr. Cochran, Mr. Dershowitz is on the line.
Hi. Have you guys read the transcripts yet?
Alan, Johnny's right. There are numerous incidents of racial slurs.
Good.
References of fixing police reports and framing defendants.
Be careful. Make certain that Furman is talking about his own experience as Detective Furman. Be on the lookout that he's not creating a character for this woman's screenplay.
And listen to this. He talks about American aid going overseas to Ethiopia, and I quote, "For what? To feed a bunch of dumb niggers that their own government won't even feed."
Oh, boy. Alan, listen to this. I am the key witness in the biggest case of the century. The glove is everything. Without the glove, bye-bye.
Ito admits that. O.J. walks.
I have to tell you, in these Laura McKinney transcripts, Furman discusses your wife, Lieutenant York. He makes derogatory comments about her.
I have no problem discussing this potential conflict in open court.
I think you'd better read what the tapes actually say about your wife.
It's bound to be lies. To quote Furman, the job of a police officer is to lie and create probable cause.
And I'm calling you, Barry Scheck, a liar. That remark is not on the tape.
In effect, it is. There's no question. This man is talking about his view of the job as a police officer. It all ties into cultural attitude.
Wait. Both of you sit down.
Judge said sit down. Judge said sit down.
Let's return to the legal issues. We may be talking mistrial.
I don't want that, Your Honor. Let me make it clear, I don't want that.
Mr. Cochran, I don't see how a judge can step in and make a call as to whether this is all admissible.
Well, I don't want a mistrial. I just want a clean record.
Well, if you wanted a clean record, you should have kept Furman off the stand.
Wait!
Ito doesn't know it yet. Furman talks about how Ito's wife made it to the top. I couldn't repeat what he said in public.
Please, it's obvious. Marcia knows she's losing. By calling Ito's wife, she could force the mistrial. Peggy York is Marcia's exit from a disaster.
Ito's too smart for that.
Yes, but the best way for Ito to avoid a mistrial would be to simply rule the tapes inadmissible. Then Clark can't call York, and that is that.
Ito won't do it. The tapes are relevant. He can't pretend they're not. Now, our job is to persuade Ito to keep his wife out of the case.
If my wife is a material witness, then I am required to disqualify myself.
Please, Your Honor. Your wife has nothing to do with Detective Furman's testimony. She'll never be called as a witness, not by us.
I do want to call York to the stand.
This is a deliberate effort to create a mistrial.
I don't believe that Mr. Scheck should be allowed to be heard. Your rule, one attorney on an issue. Your Honor, I will oppose the admissibility of these tapes no matter what their content.
The district attorney is acting in bad faith.
Shut up, Scheck.
You okay?
Enough!
Now, this time the defense team, as well as the prosecution, may have been too clever by half. They've managed to offend the judge by questioning the credibility of his wife, who would have been a minor witness anyway, compared to the mountain of evidence the prosecution has against O.J. Simpson.
I love my wife dearly. And I am wounded by criticism of her, as any spouse would be. I therefore recuse myself from the issue specifically of whether Captain York is a material and relevant witness for the rehabilitation and/or impeachment of Detective Furman as a witness.
He's a wimp. Judge Ito is a wimp.
Exactly.
What's he crying about? You know, maybe I have a little more to cry about.
He's a prick.
You know, in the next trial, there won't be no blacks in the jury pool.
OJ, I'm not so sure we're headed for a mistrial. If there is one, the city will lose all the money that they spent on this case. Gil Garcetti could be wiped out politically, and whether Marcia likes it or not, Gil Garcetti is still her boss.
Judge John H. Reed ruled today that Judge Ito's wife, Margaret York, has no relevant testimony for the O.J. Simpson murder case. So Judge Ito's position as trial judge is again secure.
Protect your setup! Keep the KKK out of the LAPD!
Oh, Ito's on the camera over here. Come on.
All right, let's move it on. Let's go, let's go.
What are you going to do with some nigger with a knife? The niggers, they're easy. I used to practice my kicks. Go, what should arrest the top niggers? All niggers. Nigger-trained officers, niggers with 3 years on job. What's with his all gone? Niggers are totally disgusted.
Mr. Ullman, may we have the next excerpt?
Females and niggers and all your dumb Mexicans who can't even write the name of the car they drive. All these niggers in LA city government, they should be lined up against the wall and shot. Nigger driving a Porsche that doesn't look like he got a $300 suit on, you always stop. How do you figure that out? Nigger, stop, see who they are. Probable cause?
It's bad. I don't believe
These niggers, they run like rabbits. Anything out of a nigger's mouth for the first 5 or 6 sentences, it's a damn lie.
They're devastating, and it'll be ruinous for the prosecution. I think even it's possible that he could be acquitted because of this.
I've heard the tapes. I've read the transcripts. I don't need to hear any more. I don't want this court ever to be in a position where we suppress information of vital public interest. While the jury is absent, you may play the tapes in its entirety. As to what I will admit before the jury, that is something I cannot rule on from the seat of my pants.
The case is over. Settle down, Bob. We have a long way to go.
Yeah, remember what O.J. says. Don't spike the ball.
all day long, and more to come.
It's Fred Goldman. Let's not interfere.
You're right. Let's go.
A week ago. This is now the Furman trial. It's disgusting. My son, Nicole, our families have a right to a fair trial, and this is not fair.
My heart goes out to Goldman, but he's wrong. And I'll answer him on Nightline or wherever.
Johnny, listen, it's a mistake to do any show where we don't define the parameters. You're going to speak, and they're just going to show Fred Goldman. Now, we stick to the courtroom and the press conferences where we say what we want. Anything else, a strategic mistake.
Look, here's Ito's ruling on how much the jury can hear.
Two excerpts? 11 hours of tape. He's admitting only 2 excerpts? The man is screwing us.
Excerpt 1. We have no niggers where I grew up. Excerpt 2, question. Why do they live in that area? Answer, Furman. That's where niggers live. Not a single item about the manufacture of evidence. Nothing to support our argument that the glove was planted.
I'm not going into Ito's chambers anymore. No, I don't trust him. Carl, get the press down here. Gentlemen, we're going to have a press conference. I'm going to call the Baptist ministers, the Brotherhood Crusade, the NAACP, and the Urban League, and we'll talk about the tapes. If they think they've seen a demonstration in front of the courthouse, wait till they see what's coming.
Johnny, you could risk contempt.
No, I want them down here now. No, here's a court that has let dreams in, has let the worst autopsy pictures in, has let domestic discord in, but is keeping out any evidence of a possible frame-up. Judge Ito's ruling is one of the cruelest, most unfair ever rendered in a criminal court. He's misleading the jury. All the world knows who Furman is, but the jury won't. The cover-up continues.
I'm getting sick of this stuff, guys. I want you to call Furman to the stand tomorrow.
OJ, right now, we're running on emotion and anger. Calling Furman so quickly won't be in your best interest. We need time to fashion some strategy.
More time? Carl, you guys are the legal minds. And you tell me that you can't call Furman to the stand and question him?
No, we cannot.
Why not?
Because of the judge's ruling, Juice, that only 2 of Furman's quotes are usable.
OJ, Jerry Ullman here. We can put on a witness who will say, I heard Mark Furman boast that he will make up a reason to arrest someone, but
We cannot put on a tape recording of Mark Furman saying the exact same thing.
So Ito's going to have to let in Kathleen Bell's testimony. Look, I'm willing to go all the way on this. Just get me up there with Kathleen Bell. And if Ito says, ask that question one more time and I'll send you to jail, I'll go to jail.
Trust me, Lee, you don't want to be here. But what if Ito doesn't allow us the witnesses? What then?
Well, then we'll have to have Jerry Ullman stand up and ask Judge Ito to rethink his conscience. Because Jerry can say that the judge has already apparently decided that you, Orenthal, James Simpson, are guilty and should be convicted.
No. You can't say that in court. A lot of women on this jury like Judge Ito. He gives them trips to Catalina, and he worries when they get seasick. He's like a father to them. I don't want their husbands telling them in conjugal visits that Ito thinks I'm guilty. Leave it to the pillow talk. The jury will find out soon enough what Ito did.
That's really all we have going for us. OJ, you seem to have this more in hand than we do.
Yeah. Look, OJ, we can't ask Furman anything until another witness testifies that he's done such and such. That's why we're getting all these other witnesses together before we get to Furman. Believe me, Ito will grant such witnesses.
We'll get Furman, OJ. I promise you. We'll talk to you later. F. Lee, with all due respect, please don't embarrass us. So I want to see all of your questions in advance.
Right, Captain. And how did Furman answer you?
Well, again, I looked at the Marines because I had spoken to them before, and they didn't seem to be mean people, and so I was waiting for some kind of reaction from them, and then I just kind of paused, and then he said if I had my way, I'd gather, all the niggers would be gathered together and burned.
Mr. Hodge, would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what Detective Furman said to you in January 1987?
Yes, sir. At the time, Officer Furman turned around, looked at me, and told me, I told you we'd get you, nigger.
The department is full of Mark Furmans, and if you don't know it, then you're not reading the complaints that you get. Because I know you get those complaints. That is common, everyday procedure for the LAPD, and I'm sorry to say that in front of you, but you need to start doing your job.
Ms. McKinney, I must warn you. Mr. Darden is going to accuse you of money grubbing and trying to sell your tapes.
You couldn't remember a white police officer using this epithet in your presence, and you're not being offended by it.
I object in the form of a question, Your Honor.
Sustained. You understand that it is the most vile word in the English language?
I think it's one of the most vile words in the English language, yes.
Do you think there are worse?
Yes, I certainly do. Why are we having this adversarial relationship? I don't understand that. It's a vile word. Why do I have to define it more so than it is?
You're using the word in your screenplay to help make money, right?
Objection.
Sustained. When you heard Furman use the word nigger, why didn't you just tell him stop?
I object, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Argumentative.
Overruled.
For the same reason I didn't tell him to stop when he told me of police procedures, cover-ups, other information that I felt were important for me to have a clear understanding and context of this material that I was writing.
Mr. Darden opened the door, Your Honor. There are many cover-ups that took place. We have the right to bring them up.
Why did you bring it up?
It was McKinney's word. She unloaded cover-up on me.
And what are you going to ask in response?
Well, I have the right, it seems to me, to ask the question about cover-ups.
That is not what I asked. I asked you what you are going to ask.
I resent your tone, Your Honor. I'm a man just like you, and I resent your tone.
Mr. Cochran, I want you and Mr. Shapiro in my chambers and bring the court reporter along for an on-the-record rebuke. Mr. Cochran, I have chosen up to this point to ignore your press conference of last week and what I take to be a direct contempt of this court. Perhaps you took umbrage at my interruption a moment ago in court. Well, let me tell you, sir, I take umbrage at your response. So I am going to suggest that you and I take a deep breath, take a recess, come back and talk again. I understand you are in the heat of battle. I know that.
I was just saying, I don't want to be talked to like a schoolboy. Now, you're right. We do have a long relationship. So I will take a deep breath and try to tell you what I'm trying to do.
No, I need to take a deep breath too, Mr. Cochran. I am ordering a mid-morning recess.
You should have said, Your Honor, I'm too emotional to argue this now. Please permit Gerald Ullman to argue in my place. Then Jerry could have stood up and said, Your Honor, up yours.
Now, what about Furman? Is he going to take the Fifth?
Well, according to his lawyer, he said he would.
In that case, we want him to assert the Fifth Amendment from the witness stand in open court.
In front of the jury?
No, you're dreaming, team. It isn't going to happen. Once Ito is told that Furman intends to invoke the Fifth Amendment, he'll allow him to invoke the privilege, but he'll hold a hearing and allow him to do it outside the presence of the jury.
And once again, we're dependent on pillow talk.
What I'm afraid of is he'll take the Fifth from our first question on, and Ito will stop things in their tracks before we can make our points about Furman's malevolent behavior.
Jerry won't let that happen. We'll make our points.
These crowds are getting bigger. Well, Johnny, I am worried. Let's go around to the back.
No, let's stop here. I'm not the president. I'm just Johnny. Johnny, 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 Johnny. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Excuse me. Thank you.
You Cochran!
Yes,
You Cochran!
Yes. Thank you, sir.
I want to shake your hand. You're a great man, amigo. Let me give you a hug. I'm going to give you a kiss, amigo.
Let him go.
Johnny Cochran!
Where can I wash up fast?
This way.
Detective Furman, would you resume the witness stand, please? All right, good afternoon, Detective Furman. You're reminded, sir, that you're still under oath. Mr. Ullman, you may proceed.
Detective Furman, was the testimony you gave at the preliminary hearing in this case completely truthful?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Have you ever falsified a police report?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Is it your intention to assert your Fifth Amendment right with respect to all the questions I ask you?
Yes.
Did you plant the glove? That's the question. Did you plant the glove? That's the question asked.
Not answer any questions, and will assert his Fifth Amendment privilege.
Your Honor, I have only one other question.
I'll allow it.
Did you plant or manufacture any evidence in this case?
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
You know, I've been thinking, guys, if Furman isn't going to be heard by the jury, then I think I should take the stand. I want them to see me.
O.J., allow me to speak. Look, I've always been the one to say, put O.J. on the stand. But I don't believe that's necessary. Between Johnny and myself, we went all the way with Bell and Hodge, and today, Furman took the Fifth. I hear the words, not guilty.
I still want the jury to be able to look at me.
O.J., please. They'll forget about Furman and they'll focus on spousal abuse.
It's time to rest our case and get out.
I'll think about it.
No, I'm not resting until we get Furman on that stand.
Johnny, Ito will not do it. Whatever you ask vis-a-vis Furman is going to be denied, denied, and denied. Ito is going to say, call your next witness. You know we have no other witnesses to advance this case. It is time to rest.
Well, I'm not so sure Ito can force me to rest.
Oh, yes, he can. Not only can he will force you to rest. Can we please get past this anger and talk about what really matters? For instance, let's talk about their rebuttal witnesses, or even better, the holes in our own case. For instance, Johnny, what are you planning to say in your summation regarding the cuts on O.J.'s hands?
Bob, he was on the phone with the reservations operator in Chicago, and he went into the bathroom and broke a glass. I just broke a glass, I cut myself, and I'm bleeding, he said to her.
But the reservations person said she heard a noise. Is there a phone in the hotel bathroom?
No.
Damn it. How could he break a glass in the bathroom while on the hotel phone in the bedroom? 15 months. 15 months, and he still can't sort this out.
After 15 months, you'd think by now we'd have it sorted out. And on top of that, O.J. told the LAPD that he cut his hands in Los Angeles before he left for Chicago.
Why is that a contradiction? O.J. said that exactly. I may have cut my hand before, and I may have reopened it in Chicago. What is wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? Well, we always knew we had a problem here. Bathroom, in the bedroom. This 15 months.
When I walked past the crowd at the courthouse yesterday, someone yelled, "We're going to hurt you, boy."
Last night at the Palm, I ran into a friend of mine. His girlfriend said I wouldn't shake his hand. He's helping to defend O.J.
When O.J. gets out, the best insurance for him is to date a black woman.
Maybe someone with a big afro.
Somebody dark.
Hey, don't you start talking about my daughter.
Oh, no, she's not dark enough, Carl.
Can't be bronze or cream. Look, now there's a girl for O.J.
Oh, no, not her. She's not black enough. I want O.J. to have black woman with black thick lips, black kinky hair, and a black protruding ass.
Oh, you ain't right.
That's not too steamy for you, is it, Miss Chaplin?
No.
Oh, no, and O.J. has to say to that woman, "I love you for who you are inside."
For her personality, for her heart.
Well, O.J. said he wants a change.
Well, he'll have one. When he gets out, the neighbors will buy his house and he'll go to New York with his kids.
Nicole's parents will fight him for the kids.
He'll get them. Browns can't keep him.
Terrible. It's a case from hell.
Ooh, look at that. Okay. Ooh, look at this. What do you want to do?
Hit me.
You sure?
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh. All right. 12.
O.J., we finally got something decent out of Judge Ito. When you waive your right to testify, he's going to allow you to make a brief statement.
Good.
Juice, now you got an opening in the line.
Miss Clark, do you have something to say?
Your Honor, the people would object to the defendant making any statement in court other than a waiver. We are all aware of the realities of this case. This is a very obvious attempt by the defense to, again, get material admitted through conjugal visits and telephone calls that has not been admitted in court. Please don't do this, Your Honor, I beg you. I beg you.
Thank you, Miss Clark. Mr. Simpson.
Good morning, Your Honor. As much as I would like to address some of the misrepresentation made about myself and Nicole concerning our life together, I am mindful of the mood and stamina of this jury. I have confidence, a lot more it seems than Ms. Clark has, of their integrity, and that they will find, as the record stands now, that I did not, could not, and would not have committed this crime. I have 4 kids, 2 kids I haven't seen in a year. They ask me every week, Dad, how much longer? I want this trial over. Thank you.
All right, and you choose to rest your case at this point?
I choose.
Ito is going to give the jury a standard instruction. If there are 2 reasonable interpretations of an event, one pointing to innocence and one pointing to guilt, you must choose the one pointing to innocence.
Johnny, you need to emphasize this over and over. Your friend and expert on closing arguments, Chuck Linda, will tell you, if there are competing explanations, choose innocence. Lay it out for the jury what reasonable doubt means.
Okay, are we going to say that Furman planted the glove?
Furman denied planting the glove. But he's a racist and a perjurer. And we can certainly suggest the jury decide if his denial means anything.
Johnny, Barry, just a reminder. During the first part of Marcia's closing, don't make any objections. Be very polite and make our objections within your closing argument. But when we're done and she comes back for her last word, that's when you keep interrupting her. Because she'll throw everything she's got at us when we can't respond.
Understood, Alan.
Johnny, if you're going to do some Bible thumping, I heard something at Mass you might want to take a look at. Luke chapter 16, verse 10. Jesus says, if someone is dishonest in small things, he's dishonest in big things.
Okay, brother. Luke chapter 16.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. He that is unjust in the least
is also unjust. I must have a different translation.
Speaking of chapter and verse, it is Rosh Hashanah, and I'm already late for temple. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, Alan. Happy New Year. I gotta get going, too.
Chuck, in my room there are 2 Bibles. You pick out the one where the verse works best.
Let me see if I've got this straight, Johnny. We have the Catholic version of Luke, we have the Baptist version of Luke, and you want the Jew to decide which version of Luke the country's gonna hear?
You got a problem with that, Chuck?
Not at all. Not at all.
He's the king of the Jews.
Yeah, hallelujah, Shem Adonai.
Disgrace. Shame.
Shame on him. Shame on him.
Happy New Year, Chuck.
Happy New Year, Johnny. You know, I've been thinking. I'm supposed to be in synagogue tonight like Shapiro. Talmud says saving a man's life takes priority over everything else. So instead of being in synagogue, I've been thinking about Furman. Furman is a man who's been born outside his place and time. Furman isn't a product of where we live in Los Angeles now. He's a product of 1920s Munich, where my mother grew up. He's the kind of guy who would break windows and beat up old Jews and set fires and march around playing havoc. This is a man who basically made it real clear that he hates black people. He wants all the black people in the world put on a funeral pyre. You need to get in your argument, the evil that this man represents. You understand?
I will.
This is a case for brave citizens. No, make that courageous citizens who believe in the Constitution. Yes, many times I've asked myself why the Lord put me on this case. Now, having heard Furman talk about beating niggers as if it were a celebration, I have my answer. The Lord wants me to show America the evil amongst us. The evil amongst us.
You murder lover! You murder! Murder lover! Murder!
Did Mark Furman lie when he said he hadn't used the N-word in 10 years? Yes. Should such a person be a police officer? No. Are there sloppy criminalists in the lab? Are there sloppy coroners? The answer to all these questions is yes. But we are not here today to vote on that. We are here to vote on the evidence. And the evidence still stands strong and powerful to prove to you the defendant's guilt.
He's a murderer. He's also one hell of a football player, but he is still a murderer.
The defense case is all about distracting you from the real evidence. Imagine smoke in a burning house, and you hear a crying baby inside. That baby is justice. And so you start to wade through the smoke trying to get to that baby. And if you run into a couple of defense lawyers along the way, just ask them to politely step aside and let you find your way through that smoke. See, I'm not afraid to point to him because all the evidence points to him. He is a murderer.
There's some very strong people on there. And I think they're going to do the right thing.
If your background was investigated the way they investigated this man OJ's background, there are going to be 3 or 4 things that you're not going to be proud of. But does that make you a killer? Do you want your life to be defined like that? Go to every president right down the line, and you got great things they've done for mankind. But you know what? Other things also exist. Glitches. Would you want your life to be determined by 3 or 4 glitches? Now, one thing we know about this man is that he and his wife, they love their beautiful kids. He was always proud about how she's a good mother. Oh, he would fly all over the world because he knew that his kids was in great hands. Would this man take such a mother away from his kids? Hear me. He had a great relationship with her as a mother. He wouldn't take her away. You know, and you can't take their father away. You can't take their father away because somebody took the mother. Somebody took the mother. One day we might find out who did that. I want to go home, Bobby.
You're looking at 3 weeks in there.
Will they give me back my golf clubs right away?
Not right away. Detective Anatter's using them now.
OJ just sent a message from the holding cell. He wants to see you.
Bob, you better talk to OJ.
Johnny, I gotta talk to you.
OJ, I'm in the middle of my summation. I could use 15 minutes to myself.
No. This is truly important. Listen, in all your summations so far, you haven't touched on domestic violence. I keep telling you, you gotta make the point I was not a batterer.
OJ, I have a long ways to go yet.
Listen to me.
No, you listen to me. I have a problem with my summation. You've never been clear about the cuts on your hand. You remember every detail about everything else, but when it comes to the cuts, it's, I don't know exactly how they got there. Listen to me!
I am not a batterer. Okay? Okay?
Okay.
Okay? Okay? Okay?
I can't even go to the damn bathroom without OJ wanting something. It's come here, Johnny. Johnny, don't you think this is important? Carl, you talk to him.
No, I'm not going back in there anymore.
I know. OJ scared me when I was in there. When I mentioned the cuts on his hand, it's a good thing I didn't have blonde hair.
Oh, Johnny, come on, for God's sakes, man. Listen to yourself.
You're right. Never trash the client. We know that. So let me just say that OJ has the greatest patience and the greatest endurance in the history of man. He's a great father. He has beautiful children.
Hear, hear.
Amen.
As far as I'm concerned, OJ haven't been a black person for 25 years, so it's not about a black-white thing. It's about the way the system is.
Van Adder, the man who carried the blood, and his partner, Furman, the man who found the glove. These are the evil twins of deception. And they bring you a message that you cannot trust. A message you cannot trust.
Well, people do like the show. But once again, the question is whether they'll say, gee, that was a good show, but let's get back to the evidence, or they'll say, Johnny Cochran must be right, he has the better presentation.
Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I wish to emphasize Mr. Furman's wish that black people be burned. There was another man not long ago in this world who wanted to burn people. People said he was just crazy. He was just some half-baked painter. And they didn't do anything to stop him. This man, this scourge, was one of the worst people in the history of the world. Adolf Hitler. Because people didn't care. People didn't try to stop him. And now, right here in America, we have Mark Furman, who wants to take all black people, put them in a bunch, and burn them. Maybe you are the right people at the right time, at the right place to say no more. We're not going to have this.
He compares racism of its worst kind in this world to what's going on in this case. He has suggested that racism is the foundation of the police department, of our justice system, and only these jurors are capable of fixing everything that has been going on in history? This man is sick!
Barry, please remember my admonition to you. Please keep it entertaining. You're not giving a biology lecture.
I don't intend to be the most interesting person giving the closing argument. Carl, that's not my job. In fact, I don't care if I get ratings across the country as Mr. Boring.
Barry, it cannot be a factual, scholarly presentation. It has to be dramatic.
Noted.
Wait, kid. What you got? The killer's soaked in blood, right? Right. He has to get rid of his clothes. Right. He cannot get into the car with those bloody clothes and not saturate the upholstery. Right? That means that OJ gets into the car wearing only his socks and one glove.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson.
He drives home naked. He climbs over the fence with a bleeding hand, and he drops the glove, and he leaves a sock in the bedroom.
There's a sock in the bedroom.
I got him 3 to 5 of them.
Let's start with a sock. Please. Where I come from, that don't pass the laugh test. The point is, every explanation that they're desperately trying to come up with is a highly improbable inference. The most likely improbable inference is the one that is not for the timid or the faint of heart. Somebody played with this evidence. And if that can happen, that's a reasonable doubt for this case, period. End of sentence. End of case. There is something wrong. There's something terribly wrong about this evidence. Somebody manufactured evidence in this case. You must distrust it. You have to distrust it. You cannot render a verdict in this case of beyond a reasonable doubt on this kind of evidence. Because if you do, no one's safe. No one. The Constitution means nothing. This cannot, will not, shall not happen in this country with you good people. It just won't.
Well,
Before long, you'll be seeing daylight.
I hope so. In this place, you come to learn that you can't be sure of anything.
Yeah. One thing you can count on, when this is all over and everyone has moved on to their next case, I will be still just a phone call away. I won't desert you. You're an innocent man. I'm sure of it. Nobody should desert you.
No lie can live forever. The historian says. The poet warns us. Truth is forever on the scaffold. Wrong forever on the throne. Yet the scaffold always sways the future, and beyond the dim unknown standeth God within the shadows, keeping watch above his own. Because you live with that every day, you will be able to reveal people who come to you in high positions, who lie, who cheat, and who are corrupt. Do the right thing. Remember, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, but you know what?
Did you remind Barry to interrupt Marcia during her summation?
Only twice.
Ron and Nicole are speaking to you.
Objection.
Overruled.
Remember her beaten face and her haunted look.
Objection.
Overruled.
She knew. She knew she was going to die.
Objection.
Overruled.
Look at the unrefuted evidence.
Objection.
Overruled.
This is evidence that hasn't been contested. That's all that's on this board.
Objection.
Overruled.
You can see, ladies and gentlemen, how truly overwhelming it is.
Objection.
Overruled. Sit down, Mr. Scheck.
And Ron, he speaks to you.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. Sit down, Mr. Cochran. Sit down.
They both are telling you who did it. With their hair, their clothes, their bodies, their blood.
Objection.
Overruled.
They tell you he did it. He did it. Mr. Simpson. Orenthal James Simpson. He did it.
Well, Johnny Cochran says he's cautiously optimistic, while Alan Dershowitz says he's cautiously pessimistic. Lee Bailey says he's confident that O.J. Simpson will be vindicated, but Robert Shapiro concedes he's a bit worried at the quick verdict.
As of about 8 o'clock this morning, we'll be in a full tactical alert, and what that simply means is it frees a lot of non-emergency calls from the radio queue.
If you don't have a press pass, you have to be across the street.
I don't understand the fact that he has not been presumed innocent until proven guilty.
I'm going to have to let it go at that because I'm told, Fred, we need to go back to you. They're maybe starting in the courtroom.
They're going to go look through the jurors' garbage. They're going to find them.
I'm going to have to interrupt you because Judge Lance Tito has taken his place. We go live.
All right, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Simpson, will you please stand and face the jury? Mrs. Robinson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA 097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187.A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all. Yes. Juror number 1, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 2, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes.
Last
Juror number 3, as to
June
count 1,
13th, 94, was the worst nightmare of my life. This is the second.
Absolutely stunned. Stunned out of my mind. He is so guilty, it makes your hair want to go in a frizz.
I mean, come on. A lot of evidence just right there, and I mean, I guess they already made up their mind.
He got as fair trial as a black man can get in this white society.
Surrounded by a van with 2 Nation of Islam guards and a black car aggressively trying to prevent anyone from getting near him, O.J. Simpson's van sped at 70 miles an hour off the 10 freeway onto the 405 freeway, heading north and heading home. And all along the way, fans, a welcoming entourage to freedom. At the Sunset Boulevard off-ramp, where he and Al Callings pulled up more than a year ago, his van again was greeted by well-wishers. Along the way, just one person standing with a sign saying, "Murderer." And odds are, O.J. never even saw it.
Most people feel that he was guilty. You know what I mean? And it's a free man coming home. You know, who committed 2 murders. You know? What are you going to do?
What are you going to think if you see him in the street? You know, if you drive along here, you know.
Probably think that the next time I get asked to do jury duty, I better do it.
He is going to do an interview with Barbara Walters of ABC, and it is expected at that time he will more fully flesh out these views that he tantalized
Barbara, my position was always the same, that race would not and should not be a part of this case. Not only did we play the race card, we dealt it from the bottom of the deck.
Quite a few months ago, it began to seem that it was you on one side and Johnny Cochran and F. Lee Bailey on the other, and that your team was split. Should there be animosity among the lead members of the defense team?
There was no animosity between myself and Johnny Cochran. There were serious differences of opinion, still are.
What are the major differences?
He believes everything in America is related to race. I do not.
Would you work again on a case with Johnny Cochran?
No.
Would you work on a case again with F. Lee Bailey?
I will not talk to F. Lee Bailey.
Robert Shapiro was the first to publish a book with an advance of $1.25 million. Johnny Cochran's advance was over $4 million. Barry Scheck returned to the Benjamin N. Cardozo School of Law, where he continued his groundbreaking work using DNA to exonerate wrongfully convicted felons. A year after the Simpson case, F. Lee Bailey was held in contempt of court and jailed for failing to return $16 million in stock that federal prosecutors say belonged to the U.S. government. In that case, Robert Shapiro testified against Bailey. The civil trial in the wrongful death case brought by Fred Goldman resulted in a judgment of $8.5 million in compensatory damages and $25 million in punitive damages against O.J. Simpson. Just months later, his Rockingham home was sold and the new owner decided to level it. Simpson is now retired in Florida and lives off a $4 million pension fund he amassed during his professional career. Lee.